Hey everyone, namaste and welcome, welcome, welcome. We are so delighted to be here with you right now.
Namaste and welcome, beloved 99 Days of Peace members, Peace Week members, Global Bingo members. We are all here as a family of open hearts.
And today is day 99. So let's just bring our hands to our heart, because you've just got to love that in the energy of the 99, there's the 9 and the 9, which is the 18, which is the 9 again. We just can't escape ourselves, essentially, is where we're at as a species. And so today, as we come together, let us first and foremost say thank you. Thank you to every being, everyone that has said yes and contributed to Peace Week. Just really breathe that in. And Shri and I are here right now in our beautiful yoga studio, and we really felt that this was such a perfect place to come together today in this moment where the wheel of the 7 core needs, we've been dancing and weaving all week long, where we have consecrated the pyramid of peace. The first of 12 is now a reality in this potentiality. Yes. I mean, it's really such a huge thing that it's almost incomprehensible. It's here. And so as we come together over the next few hours, we are going to explore why we're here. How did we arrive here?
How did we get here?
Right? How is humanity in this moment right now? What is the yoga of self-ascension? What is consciousness evolving through in this moment? And we might challenge you. We might invite you to just take a moment and expand. You might give us a question, and we hope you do, because this is meant to be your time to sit with Shri and I, to go deep, to ask those questions, to be here with us now. And so as we come together, we're also going to be doing live a beautiful Egyptian healing rod spiral, because the energy of that ancient wisdom right now is really part of what's weaving. And we're also going to be talking about the ancient, incredible wisdom of the labyrinths. And we have a very special guest, Midge Woods, with us here. She'll be here around 4:30, around an hour and a half in, to really weave that power. And then Shri and I will come back, and who knows, maybe there'll be an ensoulment, maybe there'll be a community gathering, maybe there'll be a sharing. What we know is that the evolution of this moment is about the interweaving of the emergent with the known, of inviting everything to come forward from outside the mind that would seek to control, and to invite the all that is present to be.
Powerful indeed.
Let's breathe that one in just for 1 minute. Can we do that? Yeah. All that is present to be. There we are. Yeah.
As we breathe together, consider for a moment that timeless recognition that there is only the now. Yet most of us live preoccupied with something else other than now. And you had a beautiful phrase that we are in a place of combining the emergent with the known. And so I wanted to invite us to recognize that reality, life, is constantly emerging. Creation is. And it is the power of human consciousness that projects upon that creation repetitive stuff.
Yes.
And so we get to dance with what was known versus what is about to be known. We get to dance with being present to our lives or seeking to take the past and project it onto the future. I remember years ago in college, I read a wonderful book by, I believe it was Marshall McLuhan, and he basically spoke to how humanity is like you're a driver in a car, except we're not looking out the windshield, we're looking in the rearview mirror. And we're constantly looking in the rearview mirror as we're trying to navigate the road ahead. And it just does not serve the evolutionary process.
So here's the other thing that does not serve, is Kira Ross sitting in a chair.
All right, up we go.
So we're going to have to change our cameras. Forgive me, guys. And there's just so much energy.
Go ahead and turn that one around.
This,
Let's give it a look.
I'm kind of tall. I could duck. But in this moment, it's that ascended Kundalini energy. Okay, let's
Bring that over a little bit.
Let's maybe come over here because we're really backlit.
Yeah.
Come over this side. Stop.
About there.
There we are. And turn to.
You're getting a view of the yoga studio.
Almost. Here, let me, that's kind of hard to do when you have no idea what you're looking at. So as we say often, don't you love live? And thank you all for that moment. Needs to go back up a midge, honey. Actually, that just went crooked. A little more. Stop. That I think is there. And one of the reasons that, yes, nope. Need to point it down and midget.
Excuse me.
Live TV. Okay, I think that's the best we're going to do, other than I need to remember it's there. So let's move this in front of it so that Shara doesn't look at all the wrong things, which I will absolutely do. Don't you guys have the best patience on the planet? And thank you. We are very, very grateful. And so, yeah, thank you, Jess. We're so grateful. So, hey, 2 more Freddie Rocanos right here. So just wanted to share that with you. This is, of course, our beautiful Saraswati and our beautiful Shiva dancing on the sands of creation in that Nitaraj dance. It's
They
very
look
much
like paintings, but they're actually wall art.
yes, they are wall art. And that's, of course, the Shiva Shakti of creation. And this podium was made for us by another woodworker who does all of our inside wood. And his name is Edgar. And same as everything else, we just said what we wanted, but he brought it looking like this. We didn't ask for all this art. That was him. And that's the gift of the emergent known. It's that moment where you let go. It's that moment of saying, Edgar, yes, please make this podium, and then letting it go into the emergent process and trusting that vision. Here in the yoga studio, all of you here right now, look at this beautiful pole. You see that right there? You see that beautiful rainbow serpent? We didn't ask Freddie to paint that. We had no idea that was going to be there. And we'll show that to all of you in a minute. We'll turn it around and show you that on the camera, because this is that moment. It's the moment where the yoga of self-ascension is stepping forward and inviting the all to say yes to the infinite presence embodied into this form and this potentiality right now, as the carrier of the seeds of the sea of neutrality, to go beyond the potentiality that the linear mind is holding the all to, and to allow yourself the freedom and the permission to be you in a way you've never done before. Because those of you that know me, it's Gandhi's moment. It's the moment of Gandhi when he said, I may be an army of one, but the truth is the truth. That's really where it's at, isn't it? It's that knowing inside that you don't need validation from others because it's just so completely clear. And it's the clarity to see the totality of the all, including how every single scenario, how those consciousnesses, how the consciousness that meets all of those experiences will play out. This is the experience of this moment of potentiality, is the ability to stand in the center of the storm, knowing it is never personal, and remembering to forgive them because they honestly know not what they do. All are only open to the level of consciousness they are willing and able to embody. And for many, there is great safety in this moment to embody familiarity, to blame, to look outward, to call out and lash out in ways, because the fear body is so strong right now. And especially in the masculine energy on this planet right now, that fear activation, everyone's having to walk through the fear dimension right now. In between the third and the fourth dimension, and the reason the fourth dimension is so robust is because in between those two, this body of potentiality has actually created a river of fear. And it's a fascinating experience. And so everyone at some point must walk through it. However, the sphere is bound in the fourth dimensional experience of potentiality, of polarity, and it's in heaven. It's like it's at a buffet going, oh my God, and it never closes, right? It is the biggest buffet ever, which is why the fear dimension has called forward this whole new experience of spiritualized arrogance. And wow, is it amazing to witness. Spiritualized arrogance is, of course, the natural outcome of activism. It is the moment where, and our beautiful, huge, giant hummingbird is right here. Those of you that are here, he's right there. Look at the big, giant hummingbird. That's his tree. That's where he lives, right there. And so this is humanity's moment to make a decision. Can we honestly laugh in the face of our own densified persona and say thank you? To say thank you for bringing me here now. Thank you for the sacred sequence of incarnation. Thank you for all the beings. And as we come to that ultimate thank you, it's that recognition that I am as you are, to honestly say thank you to every being for everything that they have so exquisitely and perfectly honored, so that you could be you right now.
Yeah.
To let go of anything other than thank you. And to know that, to own it. And to own it with the depth of the lion. To be aligned with the highest potentiality. To be aligned with the sea of neutrality. To be aligned with the empowered mastery of the infinite king, queen presence that is yours to command right now. And as you do so, and as you step forward with that courage, the aligned presence, as so was called forward in the lost books of the Essene, humanity is walking out right now and finding three energies. The question is, are you still sitting at the edge of the meadow in the comfort of the trees, looking at the meadow going, that's a great meadow. I'd like to be a part of that meadow, right? Looking at all the lions going, aren't they beautiful, right? You could be there. Or are you back deeper in the woods going, those lions are insane. We have to stay in the woods right here. This is it. We know it. There's nothing more than this. This is it. And that's awesome. Seriously, dig in. If you really need to dig in, then as Archangel Zadkiel would say, dig in and do it well. Seriously, all have the right to their journey. But if you're feigning ascension, if you're talking the talk, I challenge you to walk the walk. I challenge you to walk it, because this is the moment.
Mm-hmm.
It's not tomorrow. It's not yesterday. It's right now. I challenge you to stop deluding yourself, because that's the moment of your greatest freedom and your greatest smile. The moment when we release judgment of self is the moment where the mastery presence can come forward as one with this body of form. Because from that fifth dimensional waiting area, where we are the witnesser of the witness, we have chosen to arise and a lion to walk out into that meadow, knowing that the three energies that we are facing and clearly aware of it are, number one, the hunter. The minute a lion steps out of the woods, there will always be a hunter. Don't delude yourself. Do you know how much has tried to stop the building of this pyramid, much less the consecration and or every broadcast we have ever tried to make? Yet they're not today. Right now, in this moment, the hunters know that the lions are coming out. And in this realm, they hunt with words. And they hunt with lies. And they hunt with activism and a ferocity of anger and justification and righteousness that propels their own adrenaline. That is a self-addicted principle of the one in potentiality. And the fourth dimension is consistently feeding the ego presence enough to get about an 80% accuracy rate to believe that it's true. And so it's a very powerful force right now. So just breathe that in, because I know you're aware of it, right? So what happens is that you, the lion, clear of who you are and all that is, step out of that and say, here I come. And the first thing that happens is the hunter is going to come after you. And here's the gift. You know it. You're a lion. Forgive them. They know not what they do. The only reason they're hunting you is because they're afraid of you. Because when you stand up in your power, they need to look at themselves. Because you become the presence. You walk into a room and people just know. Shri and I literally clear rooms. But the key is that you are the waking, walking presence of truth. And when you say yes to that, and it takes a lion's heart and the commitment of a lion and the knowing of the benevolent queen who serves only those without any sense of self. In that moment, right there, the lion cannot be harmed by the hunter because the lion knows what the hunter is doing and why. So perhaps in that moment, the lion just continues walking. And then, in addition to the hunter, there's two more energies. If you've read lesson 5 of the Lost Books of the Essene, shrinkara.com, this is all in there. The second one, right? So the first one is the hunter, right? The second one is the one that's saying, where have you been? Right? It's you walk out in the middle of the field and there are people, beings, places, experiences, things you've never dreamed of. How many of you ever thought you'd be sitting here right now? Right? Suddenly the whole world opens up. Suddenly you realize beyond the limited potentiality that has even of the third eye. Remember, even the third eye limits our potentiality to the vision that can only be conceived by a brain of this form. And so when we go beyond that, when we say yes to that, you suddenly walk out into a field that is so beautiful, so safe, so magnificent that you start going, why did I wait so long to do this? It's one of those, had I known how magnificent this is as I am, why did I stop doing this? Why didn't I just run to it day one, right? It's that's that eternal smile. And so just really breathe that in for a moment, right? You're walking out. This is that moment. I'm going to save the third one because what is important in this moment of our alignment in this incredible equinox, in this week of peace on day 99, the 9 and the 9 as the 1 plus the infinite plus the 9 again. The world needs to really celebrate that the greatest miracle that happened during Peace Week was this pyramid. I'm sorry. Tell me why something else would have been a greater miracle. Because what this pyramid is doing for all of humanity is already happening. And so I want to defer to you, my love, because in this moment, in this day of anchoring our wisdom, of anchoring all that I am, let us first say thank you to each other. Thank you for being on this planet. Thank you for saying yes. Thank you for not giving up. I know so many of you didn't need to be here right now. Many of us, more than once during this lifetime, have wondered why we're still here. You're here because of right now. And I really understand. And Shri, we get it. And we are right here saying thank you. Yeah. Thank you for not giving up. Thank you for allowing yourself to trust you. Because the ultimate truth detector is your heart. And it is your sense of knowing. However, for that truth detector to be accurate, you must first trust yourself.
That's right. You know, and beloved ones, before we talk more about the pyramid, I want to come right back to that trust yourself. It is essential that we anchor our ascended heart. This is not the heart of emotion. This is the heart of unconditional acceptance. True love has a foundation of peace and acceptance. That's the unconditionality. And then we have the individual dance of our flavors of expression. And so the ascended heart right here, let's take a moment together as a community to breathe in and out of our heart centers. Go ahead and start that. So, to expand the chest, to fan the flame right behind the heart center through each breath. Then we invite you to bring additional consciousness and intention to your breath through Ave Sa, Thinking Ave on the inhale, I recognize the divine energy. And Sa on the exhale, all resistance melts away. Ave, Sa. 3 more times in your own pace. Ave.
Remember to smile.
Ave. I trust that you are experiencing the expansion of the moment, the presence. It is from this place that all of the wisdom the Master Lady Kira Ra has shared is understood and integrated. One of the problems we face as beings is we rely on this or that, meaning, am I driven only by my heart and I end up having a life that's filled with disappointments and pain as well as love? Or am I driven only by my head and I have to have concepts and principles and values that support, rationalize, and justify my judgments and my perspective, versus uniting the heart and the mental together through deliberate intentionality to connect. When we find ourselves engaging another being or engaging a teaching strictly through the mind, we need to take that breath and come back to the heart. So in the emergent moment, in the moment of now and the soon to be now, we are anchored in the empowerment of our spiritual potentia. The potentiality of that which we are comes from our higher self in anchors at the heart. So we greet our higher wisdom by opening our hearts and lifting up. The path of self-ascension is an upward lift. And so the basics are right here. Every great faith, every great teaching on this planet has always said, get to the heart. But not too many of them openly reveal, then what? The heart is the foundation of the ascended state, the beginning. And this is a great place to be. And from this place, our discernment, our wisdom filter activates, where we're able to discern what is a fear-based teaching versus a life-empowering teaching. What are people that are acting from a place of love versus a place of private motives?
And I think this brings us back to the pyramid, Sherman.
And to the pyramid. So the
Right.
pyramid, what the pyramid has brought forth to the planet is an energetic resonance that is at above the level of 99.99% of humanity. 99.99.
And can I share something? When Shree's utilizing words like above, what he's sharing with you is that it's a frequency experience that many choose not to attain. It's not that it's a sense of higher or lower. It's simply a frequency experience that does demand some practice and intentionality in this field of experience.
Yeah, there's no hierarchy here. What there is a resonance.
Exactly.
And that frequency and that resonance is one of enlightenment. It's one of the
names.
Out beyond all notions of right doing and wrong doing, there is a field. And that pyramid is in the field.
I think that pyramid is the field.
I
honestly think the pyramid is the field. And here's why I think the pyramid is the field. And you guys are going to agree with me, right? What happened on the 22nd, maybe we should show these people. What happened on the 22nd was literally that field.
Yes.
Because we brought together people that, I kid you not, normally hate each other and have been known publicly to have some very interesting press written about the fights they have had. And they were all here on the 22nd because each one of them met privately with Shree and I, and we looked each one of them in the eye and we talked to them about the power and importance of reunification. And they all agreed that unifying around humanity and unifying around our planet was more important than their individual differences.
Yes.
And while they might have woken up yesterday hating each other again, for that one night, they actually enjoyed each other, danced with each other, honored each other's languages and prayers, sang together, partied together, and remembered each other as people. So really breathe that in. Imagine if what we did at that pyramid, we do at 11 other pyramids around the world, calling together the tribes of every other place. Imagine one in Israel. Imagine one in Africa. Imagine one in Europe. Imagine where. Help us.
All around the world.
Australia. Help us. Japan. Korea. Imagine what happens when a pyramid of peace goes up. Outside of all judgment, outside of all activism, we are simply holding a frequency. Just a frequency that says, I am here as the sea of neutrality. And when we lift out of the judgment, we stand in our seventh dimensional presence, witnessing the witnesser of the fifth dimension that is gazing with the witness of the third dimension. And in this moment of potentiality right now, and where I have been living for 2 years, standing in that seventh dimensional gateway in the empowered presence of the lion and the benevolent queen energy of service, we are then able to lift back up into that ninth dimensional frequency as the joy-filled witness again, remembering that we're always going to be students, carrying the smile of eternal transcendent recognition, and filled with the pulsing energy that literally rejuvenates, restores, reshapes your body, takes you from a wheelchair to the most fit you've been in your life, puts you back on toe shoes at 60 years old. That's the gift, is saying yes. And when we say yes at that level, that's when pyramids get built. So I want us all to take a bow, and I really, Shri, want us to all benefit from this moment with the pyramid, because I think this is really important for humanity. So I want you all right now, help me celebrate this incredible man who built our first pyramid. And I know there's some of you that were there. Our very first pyramid back at TOSA Ranch in New Mexico that attracted so much UFO activity that UFO hunters kept coming out, and we kept getting filmed, and
We had the black
all the other
helicopters.
things, and right, you know, and we're outside of our, hey, so, you know, you guys know that story, right? They come, they take all of our footage of all of the things that are happening. And because Shri and I didn't pay attention, we trusted someone, we weren't able to use it, but all of those contracts are dead now. And so all of that footage is available again. And so this is that moment, the moment that says, we're all here 20 years later, because we're here building more pyramids. So my husband, my beautiful partner, amazing one, I just want to bow before you in this moment, because I'm not sure that we all really have honored Shri enough with what he's done. Remember that we have been studying Egyptian experiences for 20 years together. We have been to Egypt before. We have been through all this work. We have worked through all of Zechariah Sitchin and Vogel and had the blessing to know a lot of incredible people. And we are going back to Egypt because what Shri discovered in the pyramids is what we just built and hasn't been built before. This pyramid is actually carved. I won't tell you which tomb, but we're going there. My tattoos are activators. And when we're in the tombs, I know exactly where they need to go. We are at a moment, not of just fascination or speculation. We are at a moment where if you trust yourself, you build pyramids. So from the TOSA Ranch pyramid, right, to then when we moved to Guatemala, this beautiful pyramid that welcomed people to TOSA La Laguna at Lago Atitlan, the big pyramid at Lake Atitlan, which was our first big Mayan ceremonial site that the elders cried at and that so many amazing things happened with, to Uruguay, where we built 3 pyramids out on what we call the landing pad, plus this huge giant pyramid inside of a giant ascended heart labyrinth, to here, where this giant pyramid is our 3rd, 4th,
5th, 6th.
here.
Oh, here.
On this
Oh,
property.
there's some smaller ones here.
Right, yeah. So I just want to share with you that it was only a matter of time
But they keep getting better.
before the master builder was going to have the big one. And today we have tourists from all over Ecuador showing up. So Shri, you know, I'm holding the Egyptian healing rods. And after Shri shares with you more about the pyramid, and I believe he has a short little film to share with you, we're going to be putting together a beautiful Egyptian healing rod spiral. We're going to be turning the camera So while Shri is sharing, if you have Egyptian healing rods at home, grab them if you don't have them right now. And if you don't worry about it. But we're going to share with you how you can receive the energy of this spiral that we're going to be doing here right now. So this is all building up to that moment of experiencing yourself in the energy beyond this one potentiality. So Shri, I'm going to let you share a little more about the pyramid, please.
Sure. The thing that I wish to impart is that the pyramid, what we've been talking about is a frequency, and this pyramid is resonating right now at 620 on David Hawkins' scale, and it's going to go higher. We haven't finished with all of the activators, but anything over 500 is fabulous. And when we hit 600, we're at the level of a master. It's radiating the frequency of mastery energy or full enlightenment. Now, the reason I bring that up is many people can walk by something beautiful and not see it. They just don't recognize it because the filters they're working through don't recognize it. But when we are in the field of mastery, the energetic field, no words, nothing, just the presence of that radiation, it goes beyond the mind's filters. We may not be aware that we've been invited, but it may wake us up a little time later, or in the dream time, or at any time later. So the key here is about frequency, and that the frequency of this pyramid is then imprinted on the Egyptian healing rods, which were last on this planet at the pharaonic times. And the Egyptian healing rods were found in tombs. They are shown in hundreds, if not thousands, of wall carvings in the Egyptian records.
I want to jump in that they were found in the Cheops.
Cheops,
and so
they're
we're
in the
going there.
Metropolitan Museum as well.
And so we're going to be going there as well.
Yes. So the reason, and this is just a little science plus metaphysical teaching, the reason these are so effective is that the crystalline filling and the metal itself is conditioned inside the pyramid. Pure science has demonstrated that the molecules of these devices are spinning differently than the native state, that they come together in some weird science regard that can't be fully documented by the instrumentation of density. Yet metals become more conductive, crystals are vibrating at a higher frequency and are not corrupted by malintent of others that touch them. So the beauty is you have a tool of purity that is holding the frequency of awakening. And that is available to you to touch, to breathe, to remember, to attune yourself regularly, to step out of the hypnosis, to step out of the Velcro, step out of the reactivity, and become more and more aligned with your mastery rather than your misery. And so this is the blessing of this. And the pyramid itself is sending out like a wonderful cosmic homing beacon to all the beings in about a 3-mile radius around here. It's inviting, remember who you are, remember who you are, remember who you are. Let's do that. I'm enjoying holding the rod.
I can tell.
I'm remembering.
This is why you guys hear me off camera. I'm watching my husband holding the rods. I'm like, Shri. So we're going to be showing you this very quick film that we want you to just dive in and enjoy. And then we're going to start setting up our spirals. So for all of you that are here, I need you to stand up, push your chairs to the side. And when we're done, we're going to get just a couple-minute film. And when you come back, we're going to be doing a spiral together and receiving that transmission of consciousness energy before we dive. Did you just kill us, Shri?
No, I didn't. Okay, hang on one second. Hang on one second. Here we go. All right, beloveds, here is the short movie to share. Wonderful. So beloved ones, I trust that you felt the joy and the happiness of that consecration ceremony that went on for 2 hours. Lots more to share at another time. I'm going to turn the camera here on our beautiful group that has arranged themselves in a spiral that is using the set of the rods, and be present and breathe as we lift into a further connected experience. Hang on with me as I turn the camera.
So what you're seeing here is a spiral. This is a group healing experience using one set of. I'm in the middle, so I'm holding the rod, the copper rod, and it's in the right hand. And I'm holding that up, really connecting with all of that cosmic energy, really more of like that conduit. And then we always try to balance female, male, female, male, working with the energy if we can, working with the way to arrange. But as we come together here, you'll notice that Shri is at the end with the other rods. So Shri, would you guide us?
Absolutely. So everyone, let's close your eyes for me.
Forgive me 1 second. Yeah. Forgive me, guys at home. If you are at home right now, if you have your own set of Egyptian moon rods, holding them, you want to begin a nice soft breath and just really connect with the group. Those of you that may not have your own set of rods right now, just open up your hands and really receive this energy, for sending this energy through you, with you, through you. So just offer yourself these next few minutes as Shri guides the group to give yourself the gift of honestly receiving this energy. Ready, sweetheart?
Absolutely. So beloved ones, we're all hand in hand. I invite you to close your eyes and take a deep, clearing breath. And allow yourself to be an open conduit of the energy. No resistance. Continue to breathe. Open, open, open. Feel the tingle. Feel the movement. And now we're going to breathe deeply, 3 deep breaths, and we're going to lift right off this planet. Big breath in. Stop. Big breath in. Stop. Big breath in. We're lifting up into the stars. And in a moment, I'm asking you to take a breath in and release it with tone. Be the hollow reed, be the vessel of receptivity as we float in the cosmos. Big breath in, let it out with sound. Breathe and float. Feel the stars all around you. The Milky Way is your aura. The stars are your brethren. We are free. We are connected to all that is. Breathe. Receive. Receive. Feel your aura expanding, touching the. We are a spiral galaxy traveling together. Oh. Allow that beautiful energy to circulate through the body and form. All around you, filling your aura, filling your body, restoring you, revitalizing you. I am resurrection. I am light. I am love. And all is well. And as you're ready, with soft eyes, you open your eyes, bringing with you the connection that has been opened, the flow that is part of your beingness. And let a smile come to your face.
And may a group hug begin.
As
I think you saw me.
turn to your neighbor.
I'm just feeling like a big old group hug. It's all that's
We're
good.
squishing. Better than before.
How are you, Nicole? We feel you. We feel you. Let's all say hi to everybody. So as we're all here right now, there's the camera, guys. How are you feeling? What are you noticing? Anyone like to share? Acceleration.
Connection.
Floating, wait. And breathe with.
I am like.
How are you? You guys want to put it in the chat? Let us know. Because this is the moment. This is the world. This what you're experiencing right now. This is the truth of who you are. You might be wondering, well, how do I know that? How did we get here? Well, that's where Sri and I are going to take you next. But in this moment, just notice how you feel. Because this is how we're meant to be. This is how we're meant to live. This is who we are. We are that which we have been waiting for. And everything in your life prior to this moment was literally seeds that you sprinkled into this field of potentiality. So that when all that you are as I am arrived here in this moment right now, you would know. How many of you don't even recognize yourselves? How many of you look back and go, who was that person? How many of you look over your life and go, wow, yeah, I get it. Because the mastery presence is inviting the you to relax and allow that is as I am to guide.
We have some wonderful sharings.
Okay, let's hear sharing.
All right. So
Here's the other ball. You're feeling out of balance.
Here we go.
There you go. Yeah. Go ahead.
So Julianne shares, oh, so much light. And Kathy says, I feel all of our energies intermingling, to which is followed with a yes, yes, yes from Astaria.
Yes.
And Jim writes, we are wonderful, emoji land. And Sadell shares, beautiful love, sweet scent of all. And Kyla writes, everyone is so amazingly beautiful and radiating pure joy and light. And Mona shares, joy-filled communion, a big smile from every cell in my body, followed by a simple declaration, truth.
There it is. Yes, there it is.
So thank you, beloveds, for participating and sharing. We appreciate it very much.
And we are so grateful. And would anyone here like to share anything else before we move forward?
I would, absolutely. Please. A couple of years ago, I saw in a vision the evasive symbol in pure gold, and it was radiating in front of me, and it started expanding like when you drop a pebble in water and the ripples go out. And I saw the evasive symbol going out into the land, and I didn't know at the time when that was going to happen. It's happening now. It's happening with the evasive clinics. It's happening now with the pyramid, and the heartbeat of Evasa is here. And thank you. Thank you.
Thank you for sharing.
Thank you. Thank you for sharing. Thank you. Would anyone else like to share? Yes, Dia, please, right to the camera.
Was our Milky Way. It's my first experience. I really was the galactic. The galactic.
Yes,
I am. I am.
Yes.
Oh, I love this.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Celebration.
Anyone else like to celebrate? All right. I think what's happening is we're all just in this blissed out moment. So we're going to turn that camera around. I'm going to go join Sri where he's standing.
All right, here we come right around. There's the view at the door. Yeah, here, I'll go back. Let's take a look at that. I don't want to go too fast. Enjoy. Here's the Andean Valley that's right out our window.
And can they see the lawn? Let's see. Not quite, not quite. But imagine doing yoga, right? Is that crazy? It's a flyby, right? Is that so? Oh, no, you're right.
I'm tracking with you.
Please get comfortable. Whatever makes you comfortable, please do. And for any of you that may want over chair, we have plenty of space. All right. Woo. Wow. Well, was that amazing or what? So, we said, okay, let's take a minute and let's talk about pure joy, right? So as we're breathing and as we're floating, and I know we're all floating, it's really beautiful to see everybody's smiles in here. We want to take you on a journey. So the first thing is, can you show them, do we have the alchemy of
You
self-ascension?
bet.
All right, so we're in a moment where the relaxation of the all that I am, Kira's gonna need glasses for this one, guys. So for the relaxation of the all that I am into the I am here now is to be able to notice the alchemy that's at work. So this is the model of the yoga of self-ascension. Is it big enough? Can we make it bigger? Okay. So this is the model of the yoga of self-ascension. Now, here's what's important to remember. When Archangel Zadkiel first shared this with us, and I brought all of our books, right? Because, you know, we have 5 bestsellers. So here's all of our books. And I'm going to talk about some of this later because 2 of these books are being redone right now because of this. When you gaze at the model of self-ascension, it talks about the 4 steps of the mastery journey. Well, when Archangel Zadkiel gave us those 4 steps, it was, remember, they are not in any specific order, but it's about to be in union, release judgment, unconditional love, and surrender. And that the one thing Zadkiel said was, you will always constantly be respiraling through this. It's just the level of consciousness that meets it. But while you are carrying a body of form, you will always be moving through it. And so it's just how we move through things. It's things we repeat and look at and notice how we're navigating. And if you look right at the scaled back lighter gray in the back, you'll notice that's the Avesa symbol, right? So that is the cosmic heartbeat, the symbol of Avesa. That was the letter, the energy that Beta Austin gave to the water that came back with the tree of life. So this is the cosmic heartbeat. And then you notice all of the alchemical symbols for creation, all of the energies of that which I am. And in the center is that torus field. When we create and become that absolute 0 point generator, that is the embodied presence of the law of instantaneous manifestation, sustained by peace, love, and joy, as the stabilization of the first 3 chakras of this realm of form, so that the ascended presence may come in to foundationalize the heart as the root center of the ascended state. So breathe that in. And Shri, it looks like we have something in the Q&A. I was going to say, we're happy to answer your questions. Shri, is there anything? Normally Shri says, now let me explain what Kira just said. So hopefully we're good.
You know, one of the things I've learned in my life is one of my biggest gifts and one of my biggest impediments is my mind. And that, you know, it's a dual-edged tool. And that it's important sometimes to language things differently in order to really be able to get it. Because when the mind says, I understand, I get it, it then relaxes its need to control.
Right.
So it is the mind that interferes with our ascension, our enlightenment. And yet it is the mind that can then also say, wait a minute, you need to do a course correction, because it understands where you're going and how to get there. So it's one of those wonderful tools. The key is to remember, the mind is your servant.
There it is.
The mind is your servant, not
I was
your master.
just going for the passage. And that's exactly it. And as Archangel Zadkiel said so well, remember that the mind and the ego are nothing more than a sly pirate. And it will do everything it can, fair or unfair, because it's a directive. Its self-fulfilling prophecy is to keep itself going. And so it will do everything it can until you, the you that I am, can demonstrate to that aspect of the self that it can trust you. And that's when it lays down its sword of control and says, oh, thank you.
Yes.
And that's when everything gets easier.
You know, in the center of that model of self-ascension, I'm going to pop it right back up.
Okay.
It's in the very center. It says peace, love, and joy. And I want to invite you to remember, when you're feeling peace, when you're feeling love, when you're feeling joy, are you not at your best? Are you not connected and available?
Creative.
You have resources to share? And the dog says yes.
Can we put him out?
And so I just want to remind us that the gateway is always available to everyone, no matter where you are, what you're doing, is to take the breath into the heart center, to take the breath into the peace, the love, and the joy that is your nature. And from there, we lift into greater capacity, greater empowerment, greater conscious connectivity.
Breathe out. So as we do that, let's fast forward, shall we? So let's come together in the knowing that you're here right now, because deep within you, there is an evolutionary experience of consciousness that has been coming forward your entire life. Because I am confident if I gave you a checklist of things that you've probably endured to still be on the planet now, you would probably check them all. Because in this moment right now, we have all agreed that when this moment arose, and it has, another marker would be the pyramid. And we're not going to take this time to tell you what tried to stop these past 99 days, but what we will tell you is it was significant and we're now beyond it. That's a miracle for humanity. Breathing in right now. And it's really something that's important for the mind of this body to try to relax into. Taking a deep center, however, I'm going to do Ave Soft, whatever breath serves you. Smile. That is one breath more than we've ever taken before. Every breath we are breathing in this potentiality is already a miracle. The fact that we are still here is a miracle. When I put out the 2015 through 2021, all of the prophecies of the 7 polarities of free will, every single one of them delivered. It was because 2022 was the wild card year. And we're not done yet. But what's happened is that the need to begin to really unify the world with greater tangibility is coming forward. So I want to take a minute and really help all of us get on the same page by sharing with you how we got here now. So can you open the share so I can see them? Because I didn't rename, so I know the order, forgive me. I don't see them, sweetheart. Keep going. Where's all the rest of my shares, babe? No, they're not. Okay, so I need no, honey, it's the 4 from the calendar, the screenshots that I sent you at the last minute. That's what I need right now.
Let me take a peek
Yeah,
here.
they're not here.
Okay, then we'll go get them.
Okay, so while Shree's going to get them, let's start with 2022. 2022, utilizing the ancient system of the Magi, the original ascended numerology. Yeah, those are the ones I need in that order. Using the original system of ascended numerology, 2022 is the 6 plus the infinite presence. So what that means is that this entire year has been about stabilizing ourselves outside of the field of limitation that binds us to just this one planet. 2022 has been a Merkaba of ascended presence. It's been an opportunity to expand consciousness beyond where we have expanded before. And so in that moment, if we could just get the first one up, it would help me a lot. No.
Sure.
Yeah, sweetie.
We got to go to sheriff's meeting and grab it.
Okay, that's the one I need though.
Okay, no sweat.
And if you need it bigger, I need to be able to read that and I can't read that. Forgive me, guys. We need a producer. We need somebody come and help, please. So, no, honey bunny, that one.
That one. Okay,
Yeah.
hang on a second. We got
And
about
bigger,
16.
please.
That's what I was working
Yeah.
on. We got about 16 slides here. So let me just, there we go. Now
Bigger,
we're
I'm
going
not gonna be able to read.
even bigger. All right.
No, I have glasses, sweetheart. I'm actually nearsighted, so glasses don't work for me.
Anyway.
Okay, now can we share that?
Yeah. I'm
Okay.
just gonna get
We
it.
love live TV.
Just get it.
All right, here we are. And now it's too big.
A little bit too big. All right. We got to get it sized before we share it with all of you. All right,
There we
here
go.
we go.
We need a producer.
Here we go.
Okay, okay, so we're gonna put it up. There it is. Woohoo! We did it. All right, and then I need to move back because I can't read anything because you covered it up. Perfect. But now I can't read the bottom.
See? And there we go.
All right. So what I was just mentioning, if you're gazing at this, 2022 is the 6 plus the infinite. And what's important to notice here is that if you go right to the middle, 2022 is divine mastery, presence, unification, and ignition. Now, if you own the Ascension calendar, which we put out every year as a fundraiser for the Global Minga Project, this is in your calendar. You got this last December, but it's really important to look at it right now in September, because all of the ancient wisdom is opening up. All of the Egyptian secrets, I pray you are registered to be with us October 1 for the 30 days that we're going to be doing, because this is that moment to follow through what's happening right now. It's not just this moment happened, we let it go. It's like this moment happened, now where are you going next? And so in the middle here, you see that 2022, it is. Really breathe that in. To meditate on it is. And the depth of where that will take you. And the ignition that it will ignite inside of you. Come live here a month and we'll show you. But it is the moment of consciousness. And this is why it is important to really invite the brain to at least consider the potentiality that every breath you're taking is one more than you've ever taken in this experience of potentiality before. We're already a celebration. Question is, how far do we want to take this celebration? And that's why our population is getting so big, because the curiosity level galactically is insane. Sincerely, this is like the place to be. It's like, hey, you got a ticket for that place. And so, right, exactly. And no, check out this potentiality effect. And so we are, it is. I want you to just look at that. It is. To really go deep with that and the acceptance of it is, illuminates we are. It becomes all that I am. Separation dissolves. There can only be one experience. And that is the 2022 invitation that humanity has yet to really embrace. But with every breath, we're closer, right? So it is, we are. And we are, as you're seeing right here, collectively co-creating. There are no victims here. Whatever you don't like, look at you. Whatever you're not enjoying in the planet, look at you. There is no them, there is you. And when you are able to smile at that recognition and begin commanding the law of instantaneous manifestation outside of the limitation, suddenly your miracles are so abundant, you don't know what to do with them, because you're no longer spending any of your energy on that which would be less than the co-creation of that which is of the highest service of the all. Imagine how much more energy you have available to stop letting your adrenaline be fueled by searching the internet for everything that wants to distract you. Imagine. If you want to know what it looks like, you're staring at it. My bubble is so little that I've offended people who I guess were really famous, and I'm on the phone with them going, why am I even bothering talking to you? Because I'm really in that bubble, guys. Because it's not about fame. Don't you see that? It's the upside down value. Right now, it's about who can be famous. That's the illusion of the illusion of the illusion of the illusion. This is about you knowing that the pursuit of fame, glory, money, personal accolade is nothing more than a money changer at the temple. Because in this moment, it's about the recognition that competition is an illusion, that jealousy is the ultimate separator, and that the words of my beautiful Reverend Ike, right? That's for me. If you've got something and it is the most amazing thing in the world and it makes my heart sing, then that's for me. I celebrate that you have it. Can we celebrate each other's successes instead of being jealous of them? Can we honestly champion each other? Because that's what 2022 is asking us to do. And at the very bottom there, you see the greater the peace of living as the law of instantaneous manifestation. And that's the final part of that whole paragraph above. But it's about the inner peace. So let's continue. Can I show you the next one? So you can close that one now. There'll be less up on our laptop where there's like a bajillion open.
Right.
Okay, now, hold on. Okay, it's, right, I'm missing one, honey. I'm missing two, actually. Yeah, we only have two of the four. Forgive me, guys. No, we need to go back to the original email. No, go here. That's all right. Just do that one. Okay, that's
Okay.
open. That one's open.
Yeah.
Forgive me. That's already open.
Yeah, I know.
That
I'm getting into the front of the screen. so
Perfect.
you
And
can
make
see
it bigger.
There we go. Bear with
Sorry,
us.
guys. Years
There we
ago, we would edit this out. There we go. All right. So how did we get here? So this is 2019, 2020, and 2021. This is that rapid up-level moment. Remember, I never used to put this stuff out. And in 2019, when I started putting these out, I was as shocked as anybody. It's like, why are you asking me to do this, universe? And so you see that 2019 was the last semblance of linearity, and even that was different. And if you remember 2019, if you have the calendar from that year, go back and look at it again. If you look at 2019, what's important to note here is that 2019 was the divine year of awareness. You see that up top? It was a lotus year. We were coming to the top of the 7 polarities, right? 2015 building the 2021. But in 2019, we were given this moment of expanded up-level consciousness. It was this beautiful grace that came in among all those. And as I'm saying that, our big hummingbird came back. It was this grace that came down onto this density and said, you know what, guys? And here's that grace. If you look at this right here, you see May right there, and that comes down, it says into the core, right? Well, that's when the lineage holders were able to ignite again, to remember who they are. That's when we started doing time potentiality jumping. That's when we started teaching you how to remember how to surf the potentialities. And when you see May, and the pink, May to November, you see that? That's when this ascension frequency adjustment energy came in. And I'm bringing you back to all of this because I know I'm doing this really quick and it might be like, oh my God, what are you telling me? But here's the key. Let go of all of that right now. Let go of the questions. Let go of any confusion. Just feel it. Because deep within you, you know this. I'm not telling you anything you don't know. If you can remember 2019, remember it was like a bullet. And it was, you see how that's there? It was like this, boom. It was this arrow, boom, sorry, Shiva, right up in. And then you get to 2020 and all, forgive me, all hell broke loose, right? Look at 2020. So 2020 was the year of the dragonfly. And you see how it was consciousness itself that was creating these 2 pillars. Remember, we had the 2 pillar energies, and then we had the spiral energy. It was a very complex year because from January through August, we were still in that up level. It still felt kind of normal. But then in August 2020, something happened. We had to jump out of the safety of that ignition into that spiral to make it to September. And that's when the potentiality started closing. That's when the way this potentiality started moving. And we talked a lot about that during this time. It's not that the opportunity for enlightenment isn't there. It's just like everything else. They've layered it with so much complexity that it's become this teeny tiny little beam. And the distraction energy and the attraction energy to get you to be everywhere else except right here, knowing that you can rejuvenate, knowing that you can reverse, knowing that you can live much longer than people would let you think. All of that is calling to distract you because that's here now. That reality in this potentiality, it's here. They just don't want you to know it. And they, again, is part of the co-creative process of the own addictive personality self that is totally caught up in density. That's why everything's creating the way it is. I mean, what a rich tapestry, right? So when we look at 2020, look down at the key there. Those 2 pillars were profound shift in consciousness. The visionary transformation through timeline adaptation, you see that? It was like the pyramid coming up into that dragonfly energy with that brought us up into 2021. Because the only way we can do this is through visionary transformation that comes in through divine source illumination. And then you look at the last one, the awakening to self-ascension. The gift of the 2020 lift, this wild ride that we all took in 2020, was that it brought us into 2021. And look at last year, that one down on the bottom. Look at 2021. 2021 was the ignition of the full field of concentric dimensionality into this potentiality, so that the field for the laws of instantaneous manifestation could ignite. Because remember, the law of attraction is density based on a density brain. Despite all of it, it is kindergarten at a time when doctorate degrees are needed. And so when we look at right here, when we look at, and I wrote it down here, in 2021, we are entering the center of the torus as the unified eye of awakened consciousness. And that's why this was 2021. Because this was the year. This was the year that brought it forward. Everything was weaving. Everything was in front of us. And the 0-point generator that you are was igniting for the greatest miracle transformation ever. So all of that brings us to where we are right now. And let me see if I can help my husband. Where are we? There we are. Okay, share screen. All right, you ready, guys? So this brought us to, not here. Okay, honey bunny, show me the download file, because that one's the one I need now is not here.
Okay, take a look.
Sorry, guys. Bring me right here. Yeah, I need this right there, that one. That one. If you can open that one. Yeah, make it bigger. There we go. Perfect. A little bigger. Yeah.
We're getting there. And now
Got it.
we'll
And
share
now-
it with the world.
That one.
All right.
Sorry,
here we go.
guys, and thank you for your patience. So here we are. This is, and again, if you have the up level calendar, you already have this. So 2022 energy, as you're staring at this right now, is the flow of creation. And look at it. It's its own field. It is outside linearity. It is outside of everything. I showed you 2019. I showed you 2020. I showed you 2021. What happened last year brought us to, you see the eye energy, and the energy flows for every year. Like in 2019, it was that moving upward arrow, right? In 2020, it was the 2 anchor pillars with the spiral and the up level, rapidly changing. Last year, we finally said, okay, we're adapting into our multidimensional presence, spiral energy, concentric dimensionality, torus field generation ignited this year. Now, I want you to just take a moment and breathe, because I know I need to. 2 things about 2022 are really important as you gaze at this. Number 1 is the open eye. Like it or not, it's all open. The truth is just as available as anything else, but it's all open. The gift of that is that for those who want to, we are more ready to receive than we ever have been before. And then if you look up at the top there where the word into is, the full moon. This year, what has been unique about 2022, and the reason a lot of people feel tired, frustrated, and like, oh my God, can I keep going, is because it has been up level after up level after up level after up level. It has been like every single full moon, like it or not, another stage of the rocket is igniting. And it's not like if you go, I don't want to do this. If you're here, it's happening. The question is, how are you flying with it? So if you look here, and you know, this went out last year before this pyramid was even a thought in our mind. And you notice what it says here, the pyramid within the pyramid.
I never heard of it.
Just saying, right? And if you look at it though, I want you to really see this. The 2022 energy flow is the entrance into the sea of neutrality as conscious creation itself. It is the self-sustaining experience of consciousness through your own illuminated presence. And my condor just flew by. And that is one of the moments that we are in right now. This September moment right now is igniting the June moment in Egypt, because now what's happened is we've gotten to this moment of stabilization. However, there are many, and I'm going to talk about the 2023 prophecies when we come back after our break. But in the prophecies of 2023 that, you know, I checked out of the world for 2 full weeks to call in and bring through a few weeks ago. The one thing about 2023 is that it's very, very much about the eye of the storm. And it's very, very much about mastery presence. And so in this moment right now, what are your eyes open to? Right? What are you willing to see or not? because the conscious creation is yours to command. You are being given right now. We are in the most like, oh my God, pop champagne bottles, like every dream ever coming true. But there's a catch. And the catch is your own steadfast commitment, focused awareness, and complete trust. Steadfast commitment, focused awareness, complete trust. Steadfast commitment, focused awareness, complete trust. And what I can share with you is that I know for a fact it works. Don't ask me about a conspiracy theory. Don't ask me about anything else. I know they exist, but I won't debate them and I won't spend time even talking about it because it doesn't help the conscious co-creation that I know I am here to shepherd. What are you here to shepherd? Because every moment that you allow your conscious ability to be focused in anger, polarity, judgment, activism, and it brings me all the way back, because you're going to think I forgot, to that third thing that meets the lion. And it's the one that stops the lion the most. You know what it is? The ones who run away. Because when you finally say yes to you, your friends are going to change. People are going to lash out at you. They will either blame you or attack you if they are not ready to grow themselves. And the reason they're doing it is because they need to. They were there in your life for that exact moment. Because it's in that moment you will discover your own knowing. Can you love yourself enough in that moment to perhaps gaze someone in the eye and say, thank you. Thank you for loving me enough to share with me your concerns. And may your heart receive that I love myself enough to trust where I am. It's up to you. You don't have to agree, but you also don't have to polarize. You don't have to live with them, but you also don't have to shun them. We are here to resolve that which has called our separation forward. And it is in that resolution that places like TOSA Blue Mountain exist as arcs. I mean, I'm really using that word these days. We are very much an arc between the wildlife that's coming to live here because they know they're safe, and the air that we have, and the energies that's here, and the pyramid and the labyrinths. Where is your ark? Do you have an ark in your home? And I'm talking about that sanctuary where everything is sacred, that place where no matter what, you can be there with you. That place that puts you first, because that is not a sin. The sin is to forget that unless you take care of you, how can you ever truly offer another? Unless you yourself are willing to walk that mile, how can you ask another to do it? To be the benevolent leader, to be the benevolent mentor, to sit on the council at whatever illusion of age this body of form would like to share, is to transcend the need to be right and hold the greater good of happiness. At the end of the day, I would much rather be happy than right. And it is a moment for us all to remember. So I'm inviting you to breathe, because when the eye opened into this potentiality, many dug into the fourth dimensional space, and it's very rampant. So it's a moment, it's an invitation, and I want you to really breathe that in. And Shri, as we're sharing this with everyone, I'd like you to take a moment and talk about the consciousness overlay before we're really excited, because we're going to be moving into the consciousness overlay that Shri has been studying and talking about the expression of consciousness through labyrinths and the utilization and weaving of that. And then when we come back, we'll be doing the 2023 revelations and prophecies as well. So Shri, why don't we wrap this up? We have about 10 more minutes of this segment, then we will take a break, because we know the mind will only endure what the seat will endure. And we'll take a 5-minute break and come back with labyrinths. But Shri, in these next 10 minutes, I think it's really important for people to understand the connection between the levels of consciousness and the ego governance. Yeah. And this is really something that, our first date, he takes me to meet David Hawkins. First date, I kid you not. So this man has been studying consciousness forever. Go ahead.
All right. Before we completely shift gears a little bit mentally, I just feel it's important to honor the simplicity and the power of the teaching that as we awaken to the truth of who we are, that is an empowerment. To be in the truth is to be strong. It is only the illusion, delusion, the falsehood, the fabrications that are wobbly that need to be propped up through applause and appeal and oh, you agree, okay, it must be. As opposed to be in the empowered state of your alignment with your authentic being. Alignment. So as the lion steps out of the woods, meaning out of the shadows, into the meadow, where to be seen by all, the lion will be greeted by those who would hunt, that would seek to put you down. Those that would say, hey, where have you been? Come play, let's go. The other lions that are out. And then there will be those that are frightened of your power, frightened of your clarity, and they will run. And one of the diversions that will lower or pull you away from the truth of your empowerment is to chase them. There is no need to rationalize, to prove, you just be. You don't have to talk anybody into recognizing what you need to, what you know is true. Stand in your truth, let happen what's going to happen, and you will discover that as you stay the course, those who are meant to travel with you will come back or will reinforce, or they too will step out of the woods. Those that you're not meant to work with are just not there anymore. And onward we go.
Can I jump in, David?
Yeah,
You know, there's one thing, because with the consciousness, you know, about that,
yes.
one of the things that I just want to share is, remember that everyone is playing their part perfectly.
Mhm.
You know, thank them, love them, because in that moment, it's your mastery. And it doesn't mean you're going to know it in that second. You will always have emotional body. You will always have it. As long as you're carrying the body, it's a question of how you navigate it. It's a question of how quickly you follow through. It's a question of your adaptability and availability to move through. And this is where levels of consciousness really come in. You are only awake to the level of consciousness you choose to carry. Remember that what others think about you is none of your business. And so to be preoccupied about that limits that which you are, as I am. Imagine if you freed all of that out and you really no longer gave that much of your life force to what others think, right? Look, you know, I wish I had pictures from me from maybe about 30 years ago
I got them.
do you? Yeah, oh, you do have some. And let's just say that I still am suffering from high-heeled feet. I had the helmet. You know, I was a high-power CEO of a very large corporation. I went to bed at night carrying all those employees on my shoulders. I was the only woman in a Texas good old boys club, and lived through being introduced as the skirt more than once, and sustained myself there, and wound up owning the largest agency in the United States ever by a woman when I was recruited by the National Association of Women Business Owners to teach women how to make money and to work with the Colorado Department of Revenue and SCORE, because women, I wrote Women, Wellness, Awakenings in 1993, which put me on Good Morning America. And the key is that in this moment, everything I did then is now just as, if not more important. And that's why you're here now. That's why that's seeded in that potentiality. Everything that you are now, those seeds that were placed back then, every job you ever had, every experience, every success, every perception of failure, can you in this moment right now see that the level of consciousness that you are greeting it with will determine the blessing of it? This is the moment to say thank you with every breath. We just made it one breath longer.
Mhm.
Every morning I wake up and say thank you. Every morning. So do we have that graphic? Let's show it. Do you have the graphic for the consciousness?
Yes.
There it is. Let's
Yeah,
show
yeah,
them that.
absolutely.
All right, because we're gonna,
We're going to talk about that for a
Right.
minute and move onward.
yeah,
So here
and
we
we'll
go.
go into a break in less than 5, but they need to see.
So it's important to understand that we need a language to talk about consciousness and vibration. And one of the brilliant things that David Hawkins brought to the world in his book, Power versus Force, was that discernment. that there are verifiable vibrational levels associated with levels of attainment. And that his scale of 0 to 1,000 was basically a way of saying, okay, these people are vibrating at this place. I'm vibrating at this place.
And he does this all by kinesiology.
It's all done by kinesiology, blind testing, thousands of people testing to confirm it. And I can assure you that this is science and replicable. Now, for the everyday conversation, I want to invite you to look at the words on the right side of this graphic, because at what he refers to as the lower levels of consciousness. And remember, this isn't about worth or hierarchy. This is a lower frequency, a coarser sound, a coarser frequency. And we have all touched all of this. You know these words because you've experienced them. So one of the most life-defeating energies at 20 on the scale is shame.
Consider that.
Shame kills people.
It's just right there. And you see that red line there. So on the left, you see density, consciousness, spiritual activism, ascension awareness. That's the pyramid of spiritual awakening. So that red line, everything below that is the self-defeating. And here's what I think is really curious. You guys might remember this. I don't know if they still do it, but from years ago, do you remember this one? The few, the proud, the Marines? Look at where pride registers. Look at pride.
Pride and courage are right at the threshold.
So right at the threshold of consciousness, this is why you can teach people to kill other people without any consciousness attached to it. Just think about that.
So
Look where that
what's
is.
critical at the red line there is right
And
at
that's
the,
the critical piece.
at the level of 200 on his scale is that's the only moment people begin to discern the difference between what is life affirming versus life defeating. If a being's consciousness is enveloped below 200, they're wrapped up in their pride, they're wrapped up in their anger, their desire, their fear, their grief, etc. You see the qualities.
And it's life.
And they can't tell the difference between truth and falsehood because their only lens and point of reference are those states.
So look at the energies that are being rallied to help people not distinguish between truth and falsehood. I believe those, I think we're using anger a lot right now.
A lot of anger, a lot of fear.
Anger in the co-creation right now, a lot of desire, right? A lot of fear. So it's really, when you see this and you're able to relax into, okay, it's just states of consciousness, then you begin to see the way to call in life affirming energy.
So as we take a look at the more refined experiences that are associated with the more awakened consciousness, as you move up into the 300s, what do we find? Optimism and forgiveness.
Right.
To forgive another being means I love myself enough to know that I'm whole and I can release them. I can move through. That's really life affirming. That is encouraging a new beginning, a new life.
Well, and can I jump in, please? Because when we forgive them, they know that what they do. You see that 350 going up to the 400? That's the magic. When you own it,
Yes.
that's the lift that gets you to the 400, because the understanding, those of you that have done Monday Magic with us, remember, understanding is one of those key words. It's one of those unlock words. What is understanding? It means the left brain has relaxed enough to receive the mastery presence. But you got to get to 400. You have to break free into ascension awareness outside of activism to do it. And the lift is forgiveness. That's the propellant.
And so then we can move into a more refined state of being where the qualities of love, gratitude, joy, and peace can actually bloom.
Yeah.
There's a foundation where they can take root, and then they become our state of consciousness through which we approach our experiences. So there is what's amazing to me, and I've tracked this for the last 20 years in all of our groups. I track people's level of consciousness before they come in and when they go out, and I look at when people are having their moments, because, you know, sometimes in our healing experiences, we have our moments. And those moments could be anger or hurt or despair or grief. And then we process through and we pop. And you can track very, very easily once you practice this, that their level of consciousness is bound up into an egoic experience of poor me.
Right?
Poor me.
Consciousness,
And that's the victim energy that is prevalent on the planet.
which will always blame.
And then they move through that to a place of neutrality, where their consciousness lifts, and now can they lift beyond the Velcro of the victim triangle, or do they cycle back and have another poor me experience? Now, we've
let's
all
breathe
done
that in,
this.
right? So let's really breathe that in.
And so the key here is to recognize that everybody is serving their role. And just as when the lion comes out of the woods and is greeted by the three energies, say thank you. Because everybody is playing their role to assist you to wake up. Everyone serves. And that the consciousness on this planet is lifting and groups are simultaneously compressing. Those are experiences that we get to choose. And this is why everything is permitted in the free will zone, because we will have, and we will call to ourselves the experiences we require to pop, to finally go, aha. So, beloveds, we have more experiences to share with you.
We do. And, you know, along the line of that to pop, I want you to bring your hands to your heart. Shri and I are, we're going to go off camera for about 5 minutes. We'll just be putting up a graphic. But when we come back, how do you do this? How do you anchor it? Well, one of the ways you do is by supporting yourself. And we're going to talk about ways you can support yourself. We're going to talk about the power of moving through sacred geometry. And then we're going to really dive deep into what's ahead in 2023 and how consciousness is rising and supporting it. So take a moment, go freshen your beverage, use the restroom. We'll see you in about 5 minutes.
All right.
All right.
Hey, everybody, here we are. Let's adjust this just slightly. And I'm here with beautiful Midge Woods, who is a spiritual traveler, who has not only been traveling for many years, has acquired knowledge that's important to share. And one of the things that Midge brought forward for us was the recognition that all around the world, there are people who have been celebrating the mysticism and the meditative support that comes from labyrinths. And she's going to share a whole lot more with you about that, because we have labyrinths here at TOSA Blue Mountain, and there are labyrinths all around the world that for centuries have been activating human consciousness. Please share.
Oh, thank you. Well, I would just like to acknowledge all of us because I'm here because you're here. We have all chosen this long path. I mean, when I met Sri and Kara in 2003, 2004, and brought them to a little town in Idaho, which they didn't even know where it was. Now everybody knows where Boise, Idaho is, but at that time, nobody knew. And they came and to my Spirit of Work event center and bookstore, and we did a weekend workshop. And oh my God, here we are 20 something years later. And I came 2 years ago because I walked into Dia's house and they were on the TV. I went, oh, I know who those people are. You know, and it was 20 years. I mean, I had not seen them or anything, and all of a sudden they just appeared. And that's what we're all doing. I have all appeared for each other. And right at this moment, I'm sorry it's taken me so long, but it's taken you as long to get here as well. So that's what we want to acknowledge right at the moment, because that's what labyrinths are all. Labyrinth was an ancient symbol. I mean, they have records of 3,000 years, but I went to China a few years ago, and oh my God, there are 5,000 records of 5,000 years, and there's symbols there of labyrinths and spirals. And they've been doing this for all this time, and all this energy is for us to remember where we came from. And a labyrinth is all about walking a path, a sacred path, and acknowledging that there is a connection coming from the earth up through your feet, up through your joints, up to your heart, to your mind. And that acknowledgement is what is the path, the gateway that we open up every time we walk a labyrinth. Or there's hand labyrinths that you can put your fingers on, and you don't, you know, you can own one in your very own living room. You can sit and walk a labyrinth. So there's many ways to connect to a labyrinth. And the wonderful thing 2 years ago, none of this was here 2 years ago, wasn't it? This has all been created in 2 years. You know, there was no labyrinth, there was no pyramid. I mean, there's a lot of things that were here, and it was the base and structure. But within 2 years, this created itself. I mean, it just like exploded. And that's what a labyrinth will do. As you walk into the center of a labyrinth, a sacred symbol, you will set your intention. That intention is universal. There are over 7,000 labyrinths that are recorded on the local labyrinth locator, which we'll talk about in a minute. But they're all connected. And now we have this incredible technology of the internet that actually connected all of that sacred symbols so that we can find them you know, in your front yard. And many people are creating them to be just like the pyramid. They're bringing them home. But there's many things out there that we want to bring home. And we want to acknowledge that there is some connection. We are totally connected. We forget that we're connected, but we are so totally connected.
And that's the memory that we're looking for. Is how are you connected? Just like a weaver is weaving these strands, these threads. She pulls it together onto the loom, and the loom brings all of it forward. And every strand is a different color, a different fiber, a different vibration, but they're all meaningful. And if that thread was not there, there'd be a hole. There'd be something missing. But we're all here, like just when we showed up this week. We all showed up because we were all called at the same time, but it took us many paths to get here. And so it's really, it's important. And I mean, that's what they're talking about. That's what Sri and Kira are talking about. It's so important to really acknowledge. And so take that importance of that real inner space and take it to a labyrinth that's located near you. And there's thousands of them. There's a Labyrinth locator. It's a www.labyrinthlocator.com, and we put the labyrinths that are here in TOSA. When I pulled it up, there was 6 labyrinths in Ecuador, and now there's 9, soon to be 10. As soon as we have another labyrinth on the floor of the pyramid, we'll add that to it. But right at the moment, as you come to Ecuador and come to TOSA, you actually come into this field, this incredible magnetic field that is embraced here. We sit right on the Ecuador, sits right on the equator that actually opens up to a magnetic field, and that we are part of that field. And when we come here, we have a very incredible opportunity to connect to that magnetic field that's universal, worldwide, all over, that we can actually draw that into it. So when we walk the labyrinth, we set that intention at the very beginning, and we follow the path with no judgment, with no expectation, just knowing that we are connected to universal energy all the way back to the beginning of whenever time, maybe energy, the very beginning of when it all began. We were all there as one light. And that's what we're showing up today. I did a reading on the I Ching. When I went to China, I got involved in the I Ching, and so I did a reading before I came, and I said, why am I coming to TOSA? I knew why I was coming, but why are we all there? And it said we were here to face the dark. And isn't it interesting? We've had all kinds of issues with dark and light, hot and cold, all kinds of things, but we are here to bring the light to the dark. And so that's why we all came. And once that I realized that, I just went, oh, okay, I'm called. I said yes, and that's what we all said was yes. So we showed it up. So the labyrinth is walking a labyrinth is an ancient spiritual act that is being rediscovered during our time. It's been there for thousands and thousands. They've been on the walls and the caves. We have them up on the temples, and at TOSA. They've been everywhere, and it's just a reminder. Oh yeah, we were there then. We made that then, which was really just imagine who we were at that time and how far we've come. So the labyrinth is an image that holds an experience of wholeness and universal recognition of unity and community. So when you walk to a labyrinth, you actually are part of a bigger part of the world, the world that actually didn't know what the world was. when it was first created. It's whoever created this, we were part of that creation. And here we are now creating it again. As we become more enlightened, as we become more light, we become less dense, and we can acknowledge that, you know, I might have thought something more of myself at that time, knew that we would be connected 3, 4, 5,000 years later, and recognize that we came from that spot and we're all the way here to this spot. And so the incredible thing about Labyrinth is it's also a meditation tool. It helps less stress. So it becomes a vehicle for healing. You know, it's not just mental, it's very physical as well. And you can, at the very beginning of the gateway of a labyrinth, and they come all different ways. There's 6 and 7, there's 9, 11 circles. There are some of them are in circles, some of them are in hearts. And here in TOSA, we have a great opportunity that 3 of them are here, and they're different patterns, just different ways of accessing the energy. So that, because we're all so different. So the first one is the spiral. Oh, let's show the, okay. So how you enter into TOSA is through this beautiful gateway down below, and you walk up and you walk into the pyramid. And right now the pyramid is just a gateway to the labyrinth. And just to acknowledge your energy, just to gather it up and just realize how powerful you truly are, because that magnetic field is just generated in this incredible temple of peace. And you take that and you move forward north and up these beautiful steps. Are we there?
Steps.
Okay, there's the steps. And Senior Tegre has carved out of the wood, the fallen branches and trees that have been here. He has made these incredible animals, parrots and owls and turtles, and they are the guardians. They're the ones that are acknowledging you for coming. Thank you, thank you. And it comes from the root of the tree that has not been cut, but has actually been created for this reproduction of creation. So you can see that the animals are just so excited that you showed up, you know. So there's this beautiful entry into the spiral labyrinth. And this is a small labyrinth. It's about 33 feet in diameter, but it's really very powerful. So by walking into this, there it is right there. There's a covering over the top, so you can walk at any time, you know, in rain, shine. And so that makes it really a very accessible labyrinth. Because labyrinths can be anywhere, the side of hills, in valleys, they're at hospitals, and they're used for all kinds of meditation and healing sources, especially in churches. And the very first church is in shards, and that came from Rome when when the pilgrims were going down to Mecca. And they were having such problems with the people with robbers and everything. The Romans got tired of sending out the soldiers to help them, that they built the shards cathedral. So at least that not everybody went to Mecca on a pilgrimage. They got some of the people to at least stay home and walk the shards. So that was the first attempt to bring it into a facility. a church, something like that. And that has really resonated with a lot of religions, that this labyrinth could be a healing tool and acceptable in their religion. Not everybody a symbol that they would have attracted, but because it has so much ancient wisdom to it already and history, it actually turned into a way. It was the Tao for them. It was the way they were. So the spiral is the first labyrinth, and I loved it because when I was here 2 years ago, there was no labyrinth. And when Shreya and Kara and I walked the property, I said, there has to be a labyrinth here. And she said, yes, there will be. And then what, 6, 7, 8 months later, I get this picture in my email that says, here it is. And these stones were actually hand carried from the TOSA mountain above. They were every stone. Go and look at these stones. They're so precious. They actually talk to you. You can just see that they were all hand picked and placed by these beautiful people who came here that helped TOSA build everything, build the temples and the walkways and the gardens and everything. It's just so beautiful. But these are the gravel and the stones were all hand-picked and brought down from the top of the mountain, hand carried. Amazing. Did we get that picture?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm just
We
talking.
did. Yeah, we did.
Okay, so then once we do the spiral labyrinth, we walk up about 25 stairs to the triple goddess. Now this is unusual. This is the only one that I've seen so far that has anything to do with a triple lake and crystal water. So it's really kind of going outside the box of what labyrinths are generally thought of. And so when I sent this in, and I wasn't sure if they would accept it or not, how the rules of the locator are, it has to be this way or that way and stuff like that. And they went, wow, this is cool. So there's a lot of more ways to accept what already is. So we're already growing to something that's bigger and a lot more creative, because this particular labyrinth is called the triple labyrinth, and it has 3 pools of water and crystal pyramids in each pool. And as you walk over this metal grid, it has a DNA activation. So coming up through the soles of your feet are like this energy of changing your DNA. So as you're walking, you can make that intention of rising my DNA. And that's a really important fact. When I was in the 6th grade, we had a science class, and I remember writing a paper on DNA and said, everybody else in this class must have better DNA than I do, because it's a lot easier for these people to get to know what they're doing and what they're writing than it is for me. So I know that if I chose somebody, that my children, and if I chose somebody that had a higher DNA consideration than me, I would have children that had a better DNA. So that was in the 6th grade. I had this whole thought of. Well, when I was married at 19, that's exactly what I found. I said, you're it. you got a higher IQ and higher DNA than you, but close. But he had a spiritual, all this stuff. And guess what? I have these incredible children. And I really, that was my intention. The only reason I chose that person was because I would have children that would have a better access to more information. So that's what this DNA triple goddess does. It actually raises the vibration of your feminine energy so that you as women can ask the men to meet you halfway, at least to acknowledge that there is more to this world than what we were born with. There is a lot more. Okay, so then the third labyrinth, we get all those pictures? Okay, great. Is this incredible labyrinth. This is the infinity, the endless infinity, and it is in a body of water. So to walk this labyrinth, you have to go to this amazing spa that's up in the corner here, and actually float over it. You can float over the top. They have little, plastic things, little wings that you can float on, or paddle, and experience this from another dimension through water. And it's really reminded me of what Dr. Emoto was talking about with his crystal pictures of the water when they were frozen, and by saying the words, that's what it became. So that's what it felt like when I was in the pool, it felt like that. Through the thought, the water got the information, and by following the endless vibration, it actually came up through. Now I encourage you all, and I encourage you all that's out in this world to come to TOSA and really experience this, because it is different to have the experience than it is to see it, But if you only need to see it, do that, because then get a small labyrinth, which we'll have available somehow. All these things are coming, that you can actually create your own labyrinth, just like your little spiritual center with the pyramid. You can create a labyrinth in your own front yard. Maybe you don't want to have grass and water your grass anymore, so build a labyrinth instead. So that's what I am encouraging everyone to do. And then what happened here was that when I was watching this evolve the last year, I called Shri and Kara and I said, you have to put this on the Labyrinth locator, because you have to become a destination. And there's a world out there that has been created over the last 15 years, I believe it is, that has a database of 5,900, 6,500. There's every month there's more coming on. And so that whatever town you're living in, you can actually go to this Labyrinth locator and you can put your town in and your city and your state in America or your country, like Ecuador, and find out what labyrinths are right next door to you. You don't even know. Idaho has 22 labyrinths in the whole state of Idaho. 28 are in Utah. Like I said, I was in New Orleans and I pulled it up. There's 6 in New Orleans, and they're all different. But TOSA is the only one that has created a labyrinth park. We actually have a spiritual, creative Disneyland here, spiritual land. That's what has been created here. And it's really for everyone to just come and do the journey. Yeah, it is a journey to come from wherever we came from, wherever you came from. It is a trek, but it's a pilgrimage. So acknowledge that as you're stepping into this new way, that labyrinths have been here for thousands of years, and they, like the pyramids, have been here for thousands of years too. We're just experiencing a whole new vibration. And I just would like to thank everyone for showing up, to having the courage to come and to the unknown, to the dark, and bring the light to be able to open up the next world. We don't even know where we're going, you know, it hasn't been created. That's why the Mayans stopped counting, you know, but we can't go any farther because we don't know. And because they knew all the way up to 2000, wasn't it? And when they decided to stop. Okay, whenever it was, they decided that's all we're going. We don't know what's going on. Now, who's stepping up to do that? You are. You are. We all are. And we all need that, take that responsibility, because that's what we're responding to, our ability to be able to hold the light and open that field of energy that we so need, not for only ourselves, for everyone, for our children. And here they come.
Okay.
On time. Thank you.
Great.
Okay,
Well, hey,
well,
everybody. Hi, everybody. So how amazing was the journey into the labyrinth for you?
Oh, the coming through this, because it wasn't here when I was here last time.
Right.
And I said to you, oh, we meet, remember we took our picture down there?
I do.
And everything. I said, you mean the Labyrinth? And then you said, well, yeah, it's on the list.
I did. I remember this conversation. This is real.
This was real. It is. And I just knew it would happen. And then I was so excited when she sent me this picture and said, here it is. You know, and I'm like, whoa, yeah, it happens.
Well, I want all of you to know that we really are so grateful to Midge, because she is really championing not only the labyrinths here at TOSA Blue Mountain, but I mean, really all around the world. And I really encourage you to check out the website and to check out here, because in addition to the cosmic spirals up top, where, you know, we walk in and we're really in that cosmic essence energy, we're really in that cosmic spiral. And one of the nice things about the cosmic spiral, you might not know even, Midge, is that in the middle is that big stone. And in the local language, in the Quiche language, that is called a waka. And a waka is a sacred stone. And so when you enter the center of the cosmic spiral, which is the one that's right behind the pyramid, and I really suggest do the spirals before you go in the pyramid, and then on another time, do them when you come out. And notice it's really different. And when you're in the middle, right? So if Midge was the stone in the middle right now, right? Midge is that beautiful sacred stone, right? When you enter through the first spiral, put your hand on the stone and do a full circle. Don't just immediately continue with this, with the spiral. Do a full, you know, they're doing one very well done, like they don't know that language. Do one full turn. One full, so you're holding that stone, you've just come in from the spiral, and you're really walking around, and you feel the energy of infinite presence. Then go into creation. What are you creating as you come out?
Yes.
And so I just wanted to share that, because I think every labyrinth has its magic.
Everyone's
Right?
different. Everybody has, once they set the intention, whoever built that,
Right.
you know, it actually penetrates from the ground, and that message comes through you, you know, and however that resonates for you.
Yeah.
So that really is the incredible thing. And I forgot to say was
Okay.
that the 1st of May is Labyrinth, Worldwide Labyrinth Day.
We're going to do something massive. We have no idea yet. You know, we've got all these labyrinths here. We obviously have to do something massive. So you might want to be here, but now. Yeah.
Yes, so we're gonna do be part of a worldwide labyrinth week. And then, but it's already been set for, 20 years, and they've been doing it. And now we have access to thousands of people that actually have this consciousness that are out there walking labyrinths.
We are excited.
Yes. So,
Well, thank you. We are
Thank you
so
for sharing.
grateful. Let's thank Midge. Thank you. If we got the water. so much to help. Thank you, sweetie.
Well, I just had to call and say, you need to do this.
And it was, yeah, and it really wasn't a can I, it was you need to do this. Let me tell you how we're doing it, but you know I want to do it. I know. And I found your glasses. I found your glasses. All right, there we are. Hi, everybody. And, you know, as we're sitting here watching what's the beginning of our sunset, one of the gifts of TOSA Blue Mountain, and we will turn the camera later and show it to you for sure, is the sunset view of the Compadres Mountains, which is part of why we built this beautiful yoga dance studio here. Because to be here and watch the sunset is so memorable. And so as this beautiful moment, as this day 99 of Peace Week is starting to really come to its beautiful, beautiful moment of thank you, right? As we're breathing in, as the closing ceremonies are starting to begin from all over the world. In this moment, let us just bring our hands to our heart. Here we are. And just say yes to the depth of our divine presence. To just say yes to all the children that have come here to see what you have created. To say yes to fresh air, the gift of animals, the blessing of trees, the abundance of Mother Nature, the bounty of all. And as we're breathing that in, and as we're receiving that, and as now a dove, that is one of our local doves. So first we had, on this exact same point on the tree, first we had the giant hummingbird was here a moment ago.
He's on the other side.
Right, he's right here,
Yeah.
right up on the top. And now we just had one of our local doves fly in as we're starting to talk about this. And I don't think it's any accident because while Midge was sharing, and we've all been talking about alchemical transformation. We've all been talking about the yoga of self-ascension and the embodiment of our divine mastery presence. Shri and I have really realized it's one of those like, you know, duh moments that perhaps there's those of you that really don't see what happened to us over the past 3 years. And so we dug up some photos that we want to show you because in this world of potentiality, it's very much about show me. It's very much about this lack of trust. And for 20 years, Shri and I have been with you every step of the way. And there's many of you, we've watched your children grow up. We've married you. We've been there for many of you as we've had beloved community members transition. And so in this moment, what we're inviting you to remember is that we are all rebirthing. And that the divine mastery presence experience is yours to absolutely embody right now. And so Shri, do you want to share? Would you like to or not?
Well, I did grab a couple of photos of
Right.
you. I didn't get any of myself.
What is that about?
Interesting. And I could probably do that if you want to talk about yours. for a
Oh my
second.
goodness, gracious, I'm just taking a moment with this. I'm like,
I don't know what Freudian
yeah,
activity.
okay. I don't know everyone, sweetheart, I'm good with it. So let me share with you the why. And I love that this beautiful dove, look at it, guys. Is that so beautiful? It's so beautiful. In this moment, I think it's really symbolic. And look at how gorgeous the beginning of this sunset is today. It is a moment where we're able to celebrate with joy, and that this dove of peace is sitting right where the hummingbird, the giant hummingbird was, which is the warrior hummingbird. And as this beautiful, beautiful dove is sitting there, to remember that this is what this week has been about. It's been about peace. It's been about the embodiment of eco-governance.
Mhm.
It's been about the embodiment of those 7 core values, those 7 core needs. It's been the opportunity to stand unified in a field, in a sacred chalice that says, we are here, we are ready, we are open, guide us, because we have embodied the trust of our divine nature to be the emergent process ahead. That's what Global Minga is. Global Minga is an emergent process that's calling together all these different tribes A visionary board is coming together very quickly for Global Minga. There are other organizations that Global Minga is working with and coming together with. There is the clinics. We are at a moment of modeling everything we've ever talked about, because the time to stop talking is now. The table is so big and it's round and it's beautiful. And for many of us, when we slid into this, and forgive me, but those of you that have been on the journey with Shri and I, those of you lineage holders that have been sliding through timelines with us now for 4 years, as we have right now come right here into this potentiality, the aspect of that which I am is still resolving the physical form of this potentiality. And to witness that experience is why we are showing you these pictures. Because I think you'll see more than that. I'm not sure which one Shri chose. I think Eugene, is it, sir?
That's the only one that has me in it. I'll show the one of you first.
Okay.
Or the two of us, doesn't matter.
Whatever you want. So hold on to your breath. This is 2019, India.
Yeah,
So in 2019, we were very, very blessed to consecrate the Shiva. There we are. So this is the governor of the province of Ujjain, India, welcoming us and our entire group into Ujjain. And we were permitted to consecrate the single one cosmic Shiva that, you know, stepped up out of my violet ray Shiva and is in our temple. And there's a whole story on that. So that's me, that's Shri in that moment. And we were both, I know I was, I think 80 pounds heavier there. And during some of that trip, people had to either carry me or I used a lot of canes because I had a really hard time walking. But it was a very beautiful trip.
one of the things that we observed in ourselves at that time was, and I think all of us can relate, that the body is responding to all the energies that you're working with.
Exactly.
And if we're working with a lot of energies at the emotional level, the body's going to be reflecting that. If we're at the spiritual level, it's a different state of balance.
Right.
And so the body does what it's called to do. There's no judgment around it. I know for Kira and I back then, about 3 years ago,
2019.
yeah, that
Right before you lost your
I
lost the entire stomach, right?
I was about 50 pounds larger,
Yeah.
distributed all over, and similarly was my beloved. And we accepted that. However, therein was the call to consciousness to not be complicit as much as to be actively cooperating, collaborating, and creating.
And to say yes, to really finally say yes to the mastery presence with the clarity and the knowing and the receptivity into a body of form. And we're sharing this with you because it is a collaborative process. It is a moment of consciousness right now. Many of you wise elders have already given up. Many of you are right where I was. I was 59 years old. I was basically gazing at a wheelchair. We were looking at putting in one of those little elevator things on steps.
Yeah,
you know, the little
her knees
things.
were suffering.
And I realized that how could I stand in front of anyone and say anything while allowing that to happen? And to really resolve within myself. And you notice the up-level calendar, 2019 was what? It was that year, right? Remember that was that year that was the arrow?
Yeah.
And so in 2019, it was that moment of realizing, do I really want to look like that? Do I really want that to be? That no matter what, the consciousness is there, but that in that body of form, I would be unable to reach as many as possible. I would be unable to really fulfill the mission of this potentiality and to really resolve that. And to make a conscious decision to serve, having stood in the center, knowing ahead of time the outcomes, watching the potentialities spin, constantly standing in the field of all potentiality and holding the consciousness frequency of this very specific one right now, so that as many as possible will gift themselves with the opportunity to break free of your own limitation and to let yourself know it's okay to stand at the borderlands of sanity and to look at it and to step on the other side because you're ready. And when you do, to know there are many of us standing here. We are at a moment where we have come out of our own self-induced hiding, out of our own caves, because not enough of you have maintained the open eye. Only because it is a moment of extraordinary creation. How wonderful we all are.
Yeah.
So take a breath. Really, oh, look who just came in. Now we just have the giant hummingbird and the dove deciding who's going to own their tree. So take a breath, and as you do, and I think we're good with the pictures. My husband keeps wanting to show you more pictures of me. Do we need to see more pictures of me from 2019?
One more. Only because it's a segue here.
Okay, I'll let you do the segue because I
Okay.
have no idea. This is at an airport. Isn't this an airport?
No, hang on a second.
Yeah,
So,
that's an airport.
where did it go?
It's gone. Look at that.
Oh, it is gone.
I know.
My goodness.
You know what a shame.
Okay. All right. Wow. So
They saw it for a minute.
I'm not sure what happened here.
I am. Okay.
Let me just offer this, that for all of us, life has its critical moments. And we call to ourselves crises. We call to ourselves a health crisis, a relationship crisis, a financial crisis, some other form of a sudden need to shift our orientation. Now, for me, I had a moment that people would call a health crisis. And it was actually
Also 2019.
a near-death experience in the hospital. And what came forward for me in the picture I had staged was Kira sitting on the sofa, and I was in the hospital bed. I took a picture of her because I didn't want to see what I looked like at that time because there were tubes and all that stuff. But what came forward for me, the gift, and I want to say this again, we call to ourselves health issues because we want the gifts that they are transmitting. Most people look at a problem, a diagnosis, as oh my God, poor me, this is terrible. They get angry or feel identified by the diagnosis. In fact, there's an energetic blessing that's coming that'll give you a chance to live through that moment. And I know at that time for me, that as I was in the Bardo, as I was traveling elsewhere, I had that moment of going, am I complete? Yeah. Am I complete here? And then I heard my beloved Kira calling out, going, Shri.
It was about 1:01 in the morning. He was in intensive care. You know, they had removed virtually all of his intestines. They told me he'd be dead, not to worry about it. You know, I shouldn't.
Don't worry about it.
Don't worry about it. Like, don't worry about it. Next time you come, you'll be signing, you know, death, whatever we do with the body, whatever. And it was about 1 o'clock in the morning. I was down in Frank at my friend's house, and I remember just bolting up, screaming, "Don't you dare!" It was like this was not our agreement. And yeah, so it was a very long night. Let's put it that way.
But the piece that I think is important to impart is everyone has their unique experiences. Everyone has their life crises. And sometimes we don't unpack the gift of the problem until sometime later.
Yeah.
We might go through recovery and rehabilitation and we do whatever we do. And maybe a year or 2 or 5 years later, you go, oh my God, that shifted me on a pathway that's more authentic, more true.
Well, what it did was ignite, similar, right, for both of us.
Yeah.
What it does is it ignites your ability to receive your highest presence because it takes you to the core. I remember the moment Shri and I went into the hospital that day. We had gone to Cuenca. Thank God it saved his life. We'd gone to Cuenca because we wanted a romantic night. And we went to our favorite hotel. And it was not a romantic night. It was a night filled with a lot of tums. It started out with a lot of tums and a lot of my stomach to by 4 o'clock in the morning. It was like, where is the cab? Where is the emergency? Where is the ambulance? To by 6 o'clock in the morning, the doctor looking at me and saying, we think his appendix is ruptured. And it's like, say goodbye. And I'm like, I'll be right here. To me being thrown they put me on an elevator and I get out and I'm in like a hallway. It was weird. I had no idea where I was. And I'm sitting there alone. And 2 hours later, this woman comes out of the elevator to tell me I have to go buy blood. I'm like, what do you mean I have to go by blood? I now know that this is not an appendix, right? And I'm like, what do you mean I have to go? I don't know. I don't know. I don't even know what you're talking about. I don't have a car. So I get on the phone with one of my friends in Cuenca, who happened to be at another hospital at that time getting her own test done. And I told her, I said, hey, you know, I've been here. So long story short, now I'm down in Cuenca buying blood. He's now 4
You have to
hours.
go to the Red Cross to get the blood.
And you have to bring it as a whole thing. And when I come back, I will never forget the way that the doctor, so casually told me and then showed me a video of all of my husband's intestine that they had removed because they were so excited about it for their students. Because nobody survives this surgery, and the fact that Sri was still alive at that moment was a miracle. And how every step of the way he told me I was going to kill Sri unless I let him not be a vegetarian. I was like, well, I'm sorry, he's not eating meat. And they told me that, you know, all the things they tell you. He'd never eat again. He'd never gain weight. Look at this. My husband has a belly. I love this belly. That's a celebration. And so that's the power of love and healing. He has been re-knitting his own intestine for 3 years, just through consciousness and the Egyptian healing rods. That's the power of the Egyptian healing rods. They told me, so this happens with Sri. That August, they tell me I have 12 tumors in my spine and I'll be dead by Christmas. I shouldn't even be around, right? I never went back. I never went back again. And that's when it really hit me that the universe was saying, look, the mission at hand is going to require vitality. It's going to require clarity, and it's going to require something that you're not ready to handle. So this is your moment.
Yeah, make a choice.
So make your choice. If you want to hang out in this potentiality, this body is ready to receive the mastery presence. But if you're not ready to receive it, then let's move on. It was really clear. It was really clear. And it was both of us within months of each other.
Yeah.
You know?
And the one thing I'll share is for those of you that have had near-death experiences, you go, yep. For the rest of you, there is a moment, and not everyone's conscious of the moment, where you're outside that field of what your body is doing, where you have a choice if you're awake to it. And I was clear. I said, do I go back and complete this and have to walk through the impact of what this body has experienced, or do I move on?
And I want to share with you that it was all of you. Because this happened and Sue knew, and I was like, I don't want to alarm the community. I don't want anybody to know we're not saying a word. You know, let me just be with this. And when it was clear that Sri was really in that bardo, we sent out the e-card and tell them what happened. Because he was in intensive care in the bardo.
So as I was lying on the bed, this body that I call mine was lying on the bed. And there were moments where I was completely out in the embrace of the universe, and moments where I was completely hovering over the body and keeping it alive. I found that I could attend to my body and keep it going. When I began,
He wasn't afraid.
that's number one. Don't be afraid. There's no doubt. Don't be
Don't
afraid.
be afraid.
Don't be afraid. It's the
Don't
biggest
be
illusion of
afraid.
all.
Really, let go of your fear of death.
But as I was there, what was so wonderful is these golden beams of light began coming in. It's just streaming in, golden beam.
It was.
And I get tearful, and I say, what is this? And and any experience you have, touch into it. And as I touched into the
Feel a chill.
golden stream, oh my God, somebody's praying for me. Someone just lit a
He
candle and
saw
offered,
every one of you.
and each one came in like golden healing energies. And I went, how can I leave this? I have work to do. I have a blessing to share. And each and every one of us, the love, there was so much love.
He witnessed the power of prayer visually and tangibly.
And so never doubt, if you see someone on the street that is suffering and you just offer a blessing to them,
How about
This-
that animal that was just in?
that ray of energy goes to them, whether they're conscious or not, isn't important. What's important is this energetic support is given, is shared, is granted, that a desire that only the highest is served is manifest. And as I witnessed that with clarity, two things happened. One is I got clear of what was really important to me, which is all of you and all of us. That's important. And the other is I witnessed that I was witnessing.
That's
And-
when you know.
And in that moment came the fullness of the mastery consciousness going, oh, I'm not a victim of anything. I am at choice. And it's not the little me that's at choice. It's the soul fully activated in cooperation with the body and the personality self. All come into alignment. You go, okay, let's get on with this.
Right. And it's not meant to be hard. It's not meant to be painful. It's actually meant to be an extraordinary dance.
And so, you know that Chinese symbol, crisis and opportunity.
Right? You guys know that, right?
What I've learned is people tend to call crises to themselves to have the opportunity to grow, to evolve. However, you can do it with joy. You
Why
can call
not?
it joy to yourself,
Right?
and you
Why
can pop
not?
out of whatever that whole hum was that
Right?
you
Why
were.
not? It's always a choice.
So I think joy
always
is so much more delicious than crisis.
I agree. You're right. I like that choice, don't you? Lets us have fun while we're in our earthly bodies, doesn't it? So let's have fun while we're in our earthly bodies. And thank you for letting us share that with you. Because as I'm watching it get even more beautiful here, and when it starts getting all the fabulous colors, we'll turn the camera around for you for a moment. But again, as that sun and as this moment is illuminating, as your heart is expanding, it's taking another conscious breath. Yeah. And remember, you're now further than you've ever been before. How many times a day can you consciously say thank you to that? I mean, you really stop. I look out and I look at those lemon cypress trees right there that are about 3 years old. And I think of the day Shri and I planted them.
This talk.
And they were not,
Not even, they're
no,
about.
they were
bigger.
smaller.
Yeah.
And how about you? What are you looking out of your window and celebrating? Or what's right inside your apartment, right? Look at our birds. They're just, there it is. Now we've got our hummingbird back. Are we paying attention to the small miracles? Because our mother is talking to us. And she's saying, I'm right here. I have never left you. You can be in the densest city and you can still feel me. Just bring your hands to your heart. And remember, you are me. This physical form is the gift of Gaia. This is what we have in common with her. And so why not offer to this gift our mastery presence that can reshape this gift, that can reverse age this gift, that can say 12 tumors schmoomers, that can bring us right up and say, you know what? At 62, I'm in better shape than I was at 27. This is that moment. I run up the hill better than half the 30-year-olds that are here next to me. It's not because of anything other than that's what this body of form needs to do to sustain the mastery presence that has anchored in this potentiality to be able to sustain the frequency for the all to receive and be in the sea of neutrality. However, this is not a one-person experience, my angels, nor am I able to sustain this much longer. How many are willing to say yes? Together we are better. Together we are better.
Mhm.
Steadfast commitment, focused awareness, complete trust. This potentiality is challenged to stabilize because we say one thing and do another, because we still think words will influence. You will always be known by your heart. And remember, there's the heart of the body, which is very physical. It is very much a beautiful gift because it is able to sustain that which I am. However, until it trusts inherently at the cellular level, which can never be regulated by the mind, no matter how much your mind wants you to believe it can. So until the cellular level of this body trusts the I am as you are, that's the conflict. That's why you're always not quite there.
Mhm.
That's why you're constantly recirculating. That's why you're just about, nope. Or that's why you understand it really well, but you're really comfortable in that environment and all your friends certainly are there. And God forbid you're suddenly not the one sitting at the table agreeing as we're slugging down our cosmos or wine or God knows what else. How about being the one at the table that is being? While you're having your Cosmo, your wine, whatever. The key is to not forget who you are at the sake of being accepted by those who are in fear. You know, one of the little practices that I offer to some of my many blessed private mentoring clients is to go to lunch and intentionally sit next to a table of women and just listen. Not to eavesdrop, to notice the energy. Because sadly, my beloved angels, and this is from someone who was the only woman at the table of a lot of Texas Republicans for a long time. When women get together, it tends to be to complain about everything that's not okay in their lives. It is the habit of the pain of the pain. Please, please, I brought it. There's a reason this book has been in constant print for 20 years. It's our first book. Please go read it. The habit of the pain is what has brought the level of consciousness into the moment of attachment. And when we are attached, when we are so afraid, we are so attached, when we are so deep in our entrenched knowings without any ability to see beyond it, right? When we're right there, that's the moment where we're going to be invited to see our greatest growth or not. Because it's the minute you let go, right? It's the exhale. It's the on your knees moment. We all have had them. It's that moment where you're like, you know what, God, I'm yours. I certainly had mine, right? It's I'm yours, whatever it is, here I am. Because if not, why should I be here? Right? What else would I be here for? It's that level of surrender into the knowing that ignites the spiral of presence again and again and again. And this potentiality moving into 2023 is where we're at right now. The storm, the STORM. So as you hear that at first, witness what you're witnessing in your own sense of receiving when I say that, or when you hear that. But let me go deeper and share with you that the storm that is upon us for 2023 and that we have just begun right now, which is why the whole massive October 1 revelation of the Arcana and the 30 days of up-level information and all of that that's happening October 1, that's why this is happening, right? That's why this is happening. So I want you to breathe that in. And I'm noticing, how many of you notice your second, I think it's more like high second, third chakra, like almost that junction between the second and the third chakra. I'm going to let go of words because it's not about the receptivity of any words. It's about the knowing of the moment and the real gift that's before us for 2023. So what is the storm? It is to see the open eye. Remember, it's the big open eye right now. So it's about really seeing. It's to really see without being afraid. When we're not afraid, we see everything, right? It's to see the calls forward. It is awareness. To see the, go beyond, oneness. Oh, see, open your eyes, the oneness. Reclaim, restore, remember, mastery. That's 2023. That's the storm we're in. And the beauty of that is that when you remember who you are, when you carry more passion for who you are than those who would seek to tell you who you are not, you're able to stand in the center of the eye of the storm. And there you can honestly be the presence of the creation, holding that portal for others to find. That's 2023 in a nutshell. So I just want you to really breathe that in, feel how that feels for you. And we are receiving your questions, but in this moment, I want you to again go back to that area because it's really interesting that as I'm just feeling this here, it's very much as I'm watching the early pinks come in, very much about the acceptance of the creation. Maybe hold your hand here a moment Am I accepting of the creation? Am I accepting of the creation of that which I am? Right? And to really let go of judging yourself and just notice what you notice as you pay attention to that. Yeah. Taking a breath.
So much beauty. You know, one of the things that I'm constantly smiling at is you don't need to go into a cave and meditate in order to find out who you are.
How cool was that?
You don't need to find a guru, yet another teacher, yet another dogma to
You can.
just
I mean,
discover.
truly, you can. When
Oh,
we
I
met
know.
each other, we must have had 500 books between the two of us. And a
I
lot
mean,
of
yeah, I'm not saying don't do it. I'm
Right.
saying you don't have to do it.
Exactly. Right.
You get to choose how you find your way home.
Exactly. Exactly.
And so the path of self-ascension, the yoga of self-ascension is as unique as you are, because each of us is unwinding the attachments that have kept us in a certain place. And your attachments, your journey, your karmic history, and karma's done, but some of us still carry it around like a badge
Because
of,
it's a choice now. No, because it's a choice.
it is a choice.
Right? Just go look at all of our old videos, read our books. You can learn about
But the
that.
key here is when. When is enough enough?
Right?
If not now, when will you claim your true self?
And
Claim
just
your
be
authenticity?
with that. Right?
When?
I mean, seriously. And if it's not now, then you need to get clean on why you're waiting. You know, and if you come up with all these wonderful excuses, pay attention and think outside the envelope. What is the universe putting in front of you? How broad are you the lion that's come out? Go reread book 5. It's free. ShriNkira.com. Lost Books of the Unseen. Go read book 5 again. Right? This is that moment. What is your highest vision? Imagine a world where with every breath, you only hold and see the highest of each being for this lifetime. That is where I need home. Hold each being there, and they will lift to that when they are with you. Sometimes you will see it when they may not see it themselves, but it matters not if you are holding the presence of benevolence. Is not the true presence of benevolence the presence that ignites each to be the best of that which I am? To remember that the crystal has so many beautiful faces, and that we can't have a crystal unless all the faces show.
Many rays of color. Huh?
Right? And you go, wow, how great is that? That's why we're culminating in Telemarna. We have to go touch where Akhenaten sat down and said, let us go between Upper and Lower Egypt. Let us say yes to a new way outside of dogma. Let us remember. And that's why this moment is so important, especially right here, right now in Peace Week, especially right here, right now on day 99. Because everything in this potentiality is doing its best to conspire for us not to make it to next June. That's why October had to be. That's why be there. Go to ShriNkira.com. Join us. Be there for every single day in October. In 20 years, we have not been really clear that we could share the arcana. And to be with you every day for 30 days. To be walking through this process with you at a time when holding each other's hands and holding the experience that you had, Shri. You know, that Bardo experience where I remember crying with him in the intensive care as he was sharing with me, seeing every one of you that night. Of all of us coming together, consciously remembering that we have done this before. You know, I brought another one of our books with us this evening for one reason. And this book is now out of print. But this book has already had movie rights accessed it, and it's going to be coming out again with the rest of it. But if you never read our book, 2012 Atlantean Revelations, you can find it on the secondary market, find it.
It's a powerful.
The mistake we made was putting 2012 on it. But this book, the reason we made it hardcover was that for those who owned it, because it's that book you never wanted to lose. It's that book that you were going to want to come back to over and over and over again. And the reason I brought it here this evening is because when we published this back in, 2007, the first time, you might see what it said right here on the cover. Let's see if I can, there it is. Humanity is at the ultimate choice point, and it's not too late. We have given ourselves the gift of coming back into this potentiality where all the preceding, that's why Midge came back. No, I'm serious. All of these, and all of us that are still here, because many of us checked out, all of us that are still here are here because of this moment of unification. We're here to say, hey, we've been surfing some of the other potentialities. Let's take care of this one before it's too late. Let's come together. Let's not hold ourselves back and think we're crazy. Let's not kill messengers. Let's perhaps receive messages. Perhaps let's come together and honor each other. Perhaps let's model what we've been dreaming of and wonder why we would wait even a breath longer. And that's what we do here at TOSA Blue Mountain every day. That's what we did in Guatemala, Mexico, everywhere.
Yeah.
And that's what you're doing by being here now. And I want to invite you right now to make a note. Tomorrow at 11 o'clock, well, 12 o'clock Eastern, we're doing everything in Eastern. So tomorrow at 12 o'clock Eastern, we will be having an extraordinary 2-hour culminating celebration of the pyramid, of the consecration. All of our Amazonian elders are still with us. Beautiful Nana Audrey is still with us. We also have Falling Snow Woman still with us. We have all of our beautiful beings here. And tomorrow we are going to share and model the blessing of unified field presence and invite you to join us. It's going to be a special 2-hour culminating celebration. Because every day that we do this, every day that we keep saying yes, you know, Shri and I, when we wake up in our little mud house in the morning, we're living a mom. We're doing the work every single day. We're not sitting behind a computer talking about the work or how great it would be or planning a trip to go visit the work. We're ground zero, guys. So help us help you. What do you want to know? How can we help you help more? How can we all help more? How can we all serve more? Help Global Minga help more. That's the moment of consciousness to actually start saying and putting our resources and collective brilliance together rather than still sorting out who thinks they're in charge of something as if anybody could be in charge in this emergent
Let
moment.
alone have the only truth.
Right? It's about the moment of celebrating that we have finally found each other, and how cool is that? Is not our diversity our greatest blessing? So just really breathing that in. Yeah,
I want to share a little bit about what we're going to be doing in October.
please, because
But
it's really
before
important.
I do, I also want to celebrate something.
I love that.
And so I want to show you the cover of this book.
That was
And,
our first book.
and what you see there is the name of the book is Sacred Union, The Journey Home. And you see the couple there with one heart in the graphic and where they came from.
And that's actually how the painting was first. The original's in our museum. So if you're here, you can go see the original artwork. And when the painting was given to us, she actually painted it in reverse.
And we looked at it and we said,
And we said, no, it's this way. So, yeah,
this is the
the
evolution.
time of the open heart.
And the other thing, and I'm only going to just share it as a photo. Do you know the picture that's on the cover of this book? That's Mars.
A lot of interesting activity around Mars.
And it's interesting with that we printed that in 2006, I think. And
I bet we have a
all of
copy
the
right here.
activity, all of the activity or the interest in Mars, you can find out why if you read the book.
Yeah, and I do encourage you to read the book, and I believe we have copies of it here, and if not, I'm happy to loan this one out. It was, I'm the worst at this. Oh, 2007, I thought it was.
7, okay?
7, yeah, 7.
All right, and then I have one little sharing here that ties into what we're doing in October. This book, 2013 Mayan Sunrise.
Was our last book before we left Guatemala.
And what's wonderful that what I'm wanting to share is you can see the pyramid here.
Now, can I say one thing before we open the book? So how many of you recognize this pyramid? Just sharing with you. What pyramid? Tell me who it is. It's Chichen Itza. Okay, it's Chichen Itza. So here's what you need to know. This book was written about Guatemala. But at the time, all anybody wanted to do was talk about Mexico. And because this is, was published by Ulysses Press out of Berkeley, so we didn't have any control over our cover. And I thought it was really interesting how they decided to basically bait you into the book by putting Chichen Itza on it because of the popularity of Chichen Itza when there is
And the
nothing
whole
about
point.
Mexico in this book.
Yeah.
This
There's
book
nothing
is
about
all about Guatemala.
But the
Yeah.
piece I wanted to share with you, there's a lot of wonderful information and wisdom in here. But I want to honor one of the Mayan elders. When we were working directly with the elders, two things came forward
I'm
that,
living with them.
I want to share. One of them is, they said, all these Western experts are telling the world about our calendar. And it isn't the truth.
They would cry. I mean, they would cry.
They said the calendar is secondary to the grand cycles. It's a way of understanding the cycles, not deterministic.
Read this book. It is still on Kindle.
And it was, they were just saying, please, we know you're in the public. We know you're writing. Share the truth, share the truth.
That's what's in this book.
And so one of the truths in this book that I want to share with you all right now is the elder sitting there talking. He said, well, tell us about the coming cycle and whether that's 2012 or later. And they said it would be later.
They actually gave us a date, but we said we would never disclose it.
And what he said was, humanity is transitioning from people of corn to people of honey. I just love that. We're moving from that kind of coarser, earthy, foundational stuff into
All
essence.
of their names
Honey
were
is the
changed
nectar of a
back then,
flower.
but these were some of our dearest friends in Guatemala, and we couldn't reveal their names to you.
So
But
honey,
especially-
and especially the honey
Yeah,
that they
chewing
referred
on.
us to, were these tiny little bees in the Amazon and in the jungles up there that had their little nests, and they only created honey from orchids. So this honey that he said was the model of the essence was the essence from the orchids, from the jungle flowers. And he said these little beehives, we can only take a teaspoon from each one without harming them. But there were lots of hives.
And I want to show you, I want to show you all, this is Don. I don't want to give you his real name, it almost flew out of me. But this elder right here, I'm going to pass the book around, and that's Shri on our boat, because our property at Lake Gatitlan is very, very private. You can only come over on our private boat. This was the very first time that we were going up to the property. And he'll tell you he's 89 years old, but everybody says he was like closer to 100. And this is him in all, and that's Shri. And this was right when, and we talk about it in the book, he pulled out the coolest little crystal I've ever seen, held it up to his eye, looked up at our property and
Through the
said,
crystal.
there's the pyramid. And then we have in here, we hacked our way up the mountain to the pyramid, got to the top, and I think we have video. There's Shri, there's him, there's me, lighting what turned out to
first
be
fire that we
the
did there.
top of an actual pyramid that had been hidden for many, many centuries. And that was what started our relationship with them, and them bringing us into the Mayan prophecies and becoming very close to them. And here's the first fire. There's Shri and I. That's first fire. That's Shri. That's me. That's him. And that's first fire.
And one of the things that he illuminated in my recognitions as he was working with the crystal is, in order to find our way, we often need to close the eyes of this world
There it is,
and open the inner eye and above.
which means we have to trust.
And so his crystal was his corrective lens. He was looking through the
Very
crystal
cool.
at the
Very
hillside,
cool.
and he goes, there's the emanation of the pyramid.
It was so cool.
Because the energy was there, but everyone else just sees the mountain and the trees.
We're all on the boat going like this,
What did
right?
you say?
You know? And there he is with this little
So
crystal.
this,
Him and
this,
Shri are like,
this 90-year-old, 4-foot tall guy,
you guys see how tall they are, right?
you know, he gets out of the boat with us and he goes, there it is, let's go.
And he takes
Don't you want, you know, and he just starts walking.
with the machete. You know, everybody has a machete, right? You always have to have a machete. So he's like walking up with the machete, and even Shri and I are like, okay, we're coming, right? And this guy is like boom, 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 and then you see. And that's the gift for him of light. This man was pulsing with light. And they all started crying. All the elders started coming out, because that's the gift of this moment as well. And that's the reason we're bringing it up again. All of this was preceded So that when we arrived here now, we wouldn't have to hang out and debate and have big committees about what we should do. It was like, oh, remember that? Okay, ready, set, go. You already know, you've known your whole life, right? So that's the gift, is your moment right now.
To do it because it's the right thing to do.
Exactly. For
Nothing
no
more.
other reason at all. And that's what global Ming is. We do it because it's just the right thing to do. And when we are modeling living that way, the abundance is insane. Because the universe throws every resource it has.
Whatever you need to complete that mission, we'll
Done.
give it to you.
Done.
It will be granted.
Done. And we're modeling that, as I pray you are modeling that, and that we're all modeling it for each other. So as we bring our hands right now, we're just going to check and see if any of you have any questions. And Shri, is there any, let me just make sure we don't have any questions. Okay, we've got a couple of questions. So one is, Namaste, beloved ones, will weddings please be allowed inside the pyramid? Yes.
Good
Are
idea.
you kidding me? I can hardly wait. Who wants to be first? Yes. Okay, we got hands. We got hands. We got hands. And I'm watching. And look at the hummingbird as the hands were going up. This beautiful hummingbird. Oh my God. Oh my gosh. And so, yes, absolutely. And you do know that Shri and I are, of course, ordained ministers first and foremost. We are a bona fide ministry. That's why every dollar that comes in is a donation, tax deductible,
501c3.
officially 20 years in the running. And so, yes, and remember that for those of you that have been studying the work of self-ascension, part of the opportunity of our schooling experience is that you can become a certified minister. And this is not easy. This is not fill out a form. This is, you got to do the work, guys. And so just remember that we are all here serving in the way that serves. So thank you for asking, Astoria. All right, Shri Parul, I can't quite read that.
All right, glasses on. I grew up drawing an eye since I was young, over and over again, and I had no idea why.
Wow. Because this is the moment, is it not, sweetheart? Yeah.
There are times I'm hunching that many of you have closed your eyes and seen an eye.
Well, and you know, Shri, that brings me to, I'm going to close the Q&A because we are getting to that moment of just really settling in and saying thank you. But it does really bring us to this experience of the lion. So, you know, we've been talking about this all afternoon, that we really are, when the lost books of the Essene were first delivered, and especially if you read all 12 of them, and again, they're all free at shrinkhair.com. In the 12th book, when that was delivered, I will never forget reading it and really having a hard time with the consciousness of the me that was in this body of form at that moment. And it was one of the lines that had always haunted me, that talked about how humanity is at a choice point and that there are many potentialities before us, and that based on the potentialities we choose, there is one where our dark ages will not look so dark.
Compared to what is coming.
And I really encourage you to go back and read lesson 12 of the Lost Books of the Essene with an ascended consciousness, and to read the up level that the Saint Germain itself has called in now. I encourage you to read all 12 books. We are also publishing all 12 books with a study guide, because this is that moment where it is our consciousness. Einstein was right. We will not solve anything at the level of consciousness that has created it, and what a gift. It says, guess what? You want to solve this? You guys are so amazing. You're going to make the most amazing complex riddle ever because you can solve it. Because you're going to get to jump on the other side of it and go, check this out, A+, please, right? We're at that moment. We're jumping through consciousness. And you know what? You are not crazy.
No.
And you are not alone. What you are is a little bit afraid to remember who you are. And I really get it. And so does Shri, and so did a lot of others. It's time for you to just say yes to you. And remember, joy is your measure. Joy is the signal from the soul that you're absolutely in the flow. Just breathe that in. As long as it serves another, as long as others are benefited, It is always the highest. Breathing in. We are unified and unifying. The moment before us is a blessing. And we are blessed to be with you right now. Thank you for caring. The year ahead, the moment ahead, the storm ahead, to see the oneness, remember our mastery.
Yes.
Aren't we all happy to be here now? I know we are.
You know, one of the things in the great cycles, in the grand cycles, we are surfing a crescendo moment. More people have the opportunity to choose that ascended life, to choose enlightenment, to choose the awakening than ever before. Everything has conspired to support that, yet it's still your choice.
Right?
And what we're doing in October and sharing the arcanes, the ancient
Be there.
mystery school,
Be there. Be there.
because
Forgive me.
the processes that will help awaken the energy channels, that'll help allow the body to support you rather than pull vital energy from you. There's an interesting dynamic that happens there. That as we are able to lift our consciousness, lift our vibrational rate, the body can go into a self-sustaining mode, and then we can use our vital energy to lift into ever-present expansion. And so I want to show you one little drawing that comes from the ancient schools, and we're going to be showing you a lot more of this when we get to
October. Remember,
October.
it's the first time we're starting to teach the art.
okay, here we go.
And this is the ancient mystical arcana that was hidden for quite a while.
Okay,
Yeah.
this is one of the secrets. We're going to be one of the many, actually, that it's important to recognize that our ancestors had wisdom and knowledge, that when we look at what they were sharing from an ascended perspective, we can pull from that the truth of what it is. And this is so simple, people ignore it. What's on the, so many of the hieroglyphs and what's on the Egyptian temples, people just look at it and go, oh, that's interesting. That 1 foot is
He looks at
forward.
it and goes, I remember.
1 foot is forward. This is a pose for the restoration of the nervous system.
And there's a breath technique that goes with this. There's a process with the sun that goes with this. And this is just one of the things we're going to be teaching in October.
So throughout the whole month of October, we're going to be unwrapping and offering this wisdom. And the wisdom is part and parcel associated with the pyramid and the rods, because the pyramid and the healing rods are holding that frequency that you're seeking to align with. That's the guitar string that's going, ah, and you're going to go, yeah, I want to be there. And instead of put down into something else.
You know it.
And so this is the opportunity, and we invite you to join us. And for everyone who has a set of rods, it's a free class.
Yeah, I mean,
So-
this is our gift to you, because the world is at a moment where the ancient wisdom, and this is one of the other, I'm going to call it warning signs of 2023. And Sri, do we have the text? You don't need to share it. I do want to just read it. Those of you that are here, I think will see it, right? Let's see, there it is right there. So we're going to be posting the full 2023 revelations at our website, October 1. So that's coming up really quick here. Also, if you subscribe to Sedona Journal of Emergence, we've been calling this with them with Melody now for over 15 years. This will be published, of course, in the big double issue, along with, I did the Ascended Numerology for November and December will also be in that big double issue coming out, Sedona Journal of Emergence, November 1. So here we are, there it is, going beyond Judgment Day. So bring a hand to your heart, because how many people right now are talking about the end of the world, revelations, the energy of adrenaline that is literally, and this is all of the Ascended Masters speak, and collectively invite all of humanity to receive that the greatest damage of prophecy is the self-realization by those that energize it. That in order to be in a free will zone, in order to call forward interference in a world where interference cannot be, only you can co-create that interference and thereby energize it. And so this Judgment Day right now is literally a pattern we have seen before and that we have navigated before. How we are moving through this moment now is based upon the collective consciousness as it receives the energy of Judgment Day and the prophetic energies that seek culmination in ways that are outside of the joy-filled culmination of this potentiality. And so in 2023, going beyond Judgment Day is going to be very important. And so the I will read that which is here for you. 2023 is a cycle of revelation. Through its wide open eye, the power of the energy of judgment and positionality will be clearly seen beyond any doubt. Many will cry out with declarations that indeed will have at their foundation the intention to sustain fear, doubt, and hesitancy with greater robustness. Remember, fear is the foundation of the release of your trust in self. Navigating this world of form with free will, the entrapment into the cycles is always self-imposed through the fundamental release of trust in the self. This is yet another gift of the ever-refining spiral of your ascended consciousness, the knowing that sustains your mastery presence and ignites its presence into conscious awareness. As you bring a hand to your heart and release a cleansing breath, may your heart receive and remember that Judgment Day is an energy experience that is within the all. To lift above and to see clearly again that in this worldly experience of form, the energy harnessed around the essence of judgments enslaves you as it imprisons your trust and creates Judgment Day right now. Breathe again, relaxing. In this moment now, Judgment Day is here. Thereby, all are judging and being judged. You are the judge, the judger, and the jury. Celebrate it. Sincerely celebrate. Celebrate that this conscious awareness is both the indication, really feel that, it's both the indication and the validation that the seventh dimensional frequency is open, because you cannot get into it unless you release the judgment, and it begins with the judgment of self. So you must walk through Judgment Day now. Nada más, right? No more. That's the blessing. That's why this is a celebration, and our birds are going crazy outside as we're sharing this, right? Because as the victim consciousness fuels itself, right? That victim, rescuer, abuser, victim, rescuer, abuser, victim, rescuer, abuser, right? Is that whole thing, right? So as that fuels itself, as that energy fuels itself through the energy of judgment, it's that fourth dimension that is rising the spiritualized ego. And I'm going to put this down now. I want to go back to put that down now. The reason I wanted to share this with all of you, there's so much more. So you want to get to ShriandKara.com if you want the early bird preview of the 2023. We are not putting them up anywhere else. We're not putting them up at YouTube. It's really about those that are ready to receive them early, because what I know during the 2 weeks of sitting in the silence to bring all this through and see it and navigate it and call it forward on the behalf of the all was that 2023 is a rich tapestry of mastery presence, and that it will either be the greatest heaven you have ever woven or a fascinating moment to walk through hell. And it will be 100% your choice. And so if you have a hell moment, don't drown. Don't drown. Just remember you've got a human body still, and go, wait a minute, heaven or hell, heaven or hell, heaven or hell,
Take a breath.
heaven or hell, heaven or hell. And if you have to take it one breath at a time, then you take it one breath at a time. You're taking an hour at a time, you take it an hour at a time. Build up to a day at a time if you have to, but keep breathing. Heaven or hell, heaven or hell, heaven or hell. You are never failing. You are just constantly being called to remember the master you are. Remember, 2023 is the opportunity to see the oneness and reclaim your mastery. So with that, let us all say thank you. right? And I've got to tell you guys, I am distracted by the gorgeousness happening outside here and the birds.
Yeah.
No,
There's a little-
we are
we're in that-
complete. Would you like to
in
celebrate?
that transition. So as I want to offer our blessing of thanks to all of you that have been participating in Zoom.
Should we try and show you? You guys want to see the birds?
We'll
Should we
turn the
try and
camera and see
show
how
them
much
the
of it
birds?
comes
Let's
through.
see. I don't know. I'm gonna, I'll turn Sri and you
Go
let
for
me
it.
know.
Yeah.
Oh, here, look, we can look. We can, okay. You guys help me. Tell me where I'm going. Oh, is that it? There's the tree, right?
Now go to
Okay,
the
there,
tree and I'll zoom.
oh, there it is, right there. There's
You
the,
see?
there.
Yeah.
Okay, it's right there. You see where Sri has the mouse? There it is, but it's not there right now.
Hang on, I think.
Oh, is it there? Oh, he's right there. He's perched. Sri, zoom.
Hang
So
on,
guys,
the
here's my
zoom isn't
finger. Wait,
turned
wait,
on.
wait. Oh, no, he just flew away. He just
He's
left.
back.
He's back. There he is. All right, I'm turning the camera. And so he is putting on a show. Oh, he's showing off. There we are. Sri, put your mouse on him right there.
Hang on a second, I'm zooming.
We'll be here. No, there he is. Now I gotta, okay, now you gotta move the camera. Now you gotta move you, honey. You're too far. He's on a screen. No, babe. No, wrong way. He's back again. I know he's back, but
There
now,
we go, now lift it.
wait, hold on.
Okay, I can make it a little smaller.
No, there he is. Right
There
there.
he is. There he is.
Johnny, oh my God. Wait. Can I do that with my finger? Let's see. Right here. I feel like I'm doing the shadow puppet thing. Here he comes. Oh my gosh, guys. Yeah, so with that beautiful giant hummingbird, there he goes, flew away. Yep, they're seeing it. People are no Sri, honey. You just moved off of him.
Okay, there he is. He's
Yeah,
back.
right there. There he is. Beautiful. What a beautiful way to culminate. Sri, why don't you not come around the other side of the camera and say goodnight? And could you help us say goodnight?
Right. So, beloved ones, we're so
I
delighted.
want to stand in front of the hummingbird.
Okay.
I'll do, there he is, right there. All right, I'm not gonna move because it makes the camera do funny things.
We just want to offer our love and our gratitude to each and every one of you as you remember that all is truly well, and together we are better.
99 days of peace, consciousness evolving, unification. You are the one, and we love you dearly.
Namaste.
Namaste. Namaste.